Welcome everyone to another RGL cast. My name is Jared. I'm here with Godfather to bring you guys GlobalClan Fire versus the Darkest Nights. This is RGL Invite 6's Season 13, Stage 2, Lower 1, and we are finally entering the point where one team will no longer have any games remaining for... Well, actually, that's not true. I was about to say no more games remaining for Stage 2, but what it does mean is if you lose in this stage of Stage 2, you have to keep playing, because you have to play the middle teams, as we all know by now. If you're... familiar with Stage 2, losing at this point in the Stage 2 bracket means you have to actually fight to keep your seed. Seeds 3 and 4 will go on to fight seeds 5 and 6. Maybe things will swap around in the final 2 weeks of the season. But if you want to avoid that at all costs and make sure your seed is solidified, you need to get at least seed 2. So not only is a victory next week going to be in a couple days probably, very important, but to even get there, you have to win now, and both these teams, they've had some decent showings in scrims. The match was pretty one-sided in Darkest Night's favor, but in a BO3, everything can change. The pool is wide, as these teams have, as they've been around the block for quite a while. We are definitely in for quite a match, Godfather.
Yeah, excited to see these teams go at it. I haven't seen either of them play this season. But I also haven't been following Invite 6s very closely. Happy to be back here. Feel bad for Space Ghost for being sick tonight, but hope people won't mind me hopping on the cast. Jarrett, tell us about these rosters. What are we looking for?
Well, I think both these teams actually, if you really think about it, have a little bit of a remnant of some of the teams last season. Definitely some playoff level players that are coming back and playing once again to try to get better than they previously had. The side of GlobalClan Fire, it is J-Quad, aka Ed on Scout, Fancy Sun on Scout as well, Sax and Wonder on Soldier, Averted on Demo, and Divine on Medic.
On the side of Darkest Nights, we got Zam on Scout, Gungan on Scout, High Five and Dingo on Soldier, Psy on Demo, and Speedy on Medic.
Yep, so a lot of familiar names. I don't think there's going to be anyone that's too unfamiliar with many of them. Maybe for people that have taken a break, if you weren't too familiar. I mean, I think Fancy Sun took a little bit of a break at one point, and Averted took a break at one point. The rest of them, I mean, Psy technically took a break, but he's been around for ages, so even if you weren't keeping track of last season, definitely familiar name already. But otherwise...
Interesting to see Dingo playing Soldier here instead of Demo.
Yeah, well, he's definitely played plenty of Soldier in the past. He's actually even played Medics. He's kind of been around everywhere, but I think at one point, Dingo and Psy were on... they were swapped, but then at one point they decided, no, never mind, we're just gonna go ahead and swap back, and both demo mains, only one demo man slot, so someone's gonna have to take the pocket soldier role, and that will indeed be Dingo. But both these teams, like I said, when you really dig through a lot of their scrim logs, even though scrims don't matter that much, they actually trade and are pretty competitive for the most part. I think this series, the fact that it's BO3 is gonna be really nice. It's probably one of the more I think it's maybe like top 2 team matchups that you could really look forward to this season, and maybe if we're lucky we'll get to see it again later on in the playoffs. Just because you could look at the pool and you could still like have really no idea, like, oh, you can't say like, oh, well, that team's gonna 5-0 that one on this map. Like, it's really hard to say that spare a map or two if you really get things going. So last time we did see them, though, it was a very definitive Gully Wash game. Obviously, that's the first thing that spanned out, as you can see the bans on the screen now. And as you kind of run through them, I think there's kind of a little bit of a pattern, just a tad. I mean, it seems like Darkest Nights wanted to definitely shy away from the Scout Heaven maps, and GlobalClan Fire definitely picked the their favorite of the remaining.
Yeah, interesting. We'll be on Bagel and Metal, and Decider is Sultry. I don't know if I've casted more than one match on Sultry ever, so if we do go there, it'll be new grounds for me. But Bagel, a very fun map to play, a very fun map to watch, and a more fun map to cast. Very fast paced, and a very fast cap as well.
Yeah, fast-paced Koth, starting with Bagel, just to slow things down to Metalworks. And if both teams take their map, or even trade, take the opposing maps and lose their own, then you go even slower onto Sultry. So we're going to start off fast and then kind of slow things down over the course of the night, no matter where it ends. But I'm kind of unsurprised by the picks and bans here, realistically. Even though it's not the exact same squad, what remains of GlobalClan Fire from the previous season beat what remains of Darkest Knights from the previous season on Bagel, and that's the only really map that they were able to beat them on. So it definitely makes sense that you see that in the pool, you're going to pick that up because it's a map you really favor. And for the side of Darkest Knights, I think it's a general comfort pick, as well as also maybe recognizing that I don't think GlobalClan Fire like it that much in comparison to the rest of the map pool. So it's that perfect balance of, hey, we think we're pretty good at this. I don't know if they're that confident at this. In the matchup, just raw between us two teams, we should come out on top. Works for us and makes sense there. The Sultry one is the most interesting, though. Bagel and Metalworks in recent times, I don't think they've actually played each other if at all, like in the past 3 months. So in terms of like getting an idea of how the new version of these teams operate and what maybe new strats they've developed, I think both teams are pretty much in the dark unless they've done some serious like VOD homework or anything like that. But Sultry, on the other hand, is the complete opposite, where I think they've actually played each other in practice a decent amount on Sultry, and the results are never really that consistent, going back and forth between teams barely taking it. It's Sultry, so it's slow pace. It's never a 5-0 roll, but you know, a 2-0 here, and then next week the 0-2, etc., etc. So if we do end up going to Sultry, which I think is pretty plausible, I think it's guesswork at any, who's going to end up taking this home.
Fantastic insight from Jared as always. Let's take a quick look at some of the merch over at shop.rgl.gg, because some of these designs are absolutely fantastic. Dolphin will pull them up on screen for us. Look at that scattergun, Jared. I mean, God, that is absolutely fantastic. What's your favorite of the current designs?
It's a pretty good design. I kind of like the snake. I always had a soft spot for the snake and snake water because they took it out of the map at one point and it was really sad. And it's like, okay, what's the map named after then if there's no snakes? What the heck? But then it got brought back. Everyone rejoiced, and you can get you can get a little shirt to recognize this core TF2 memory of the disappearance and the resurgence of the snake water snake.
Heck yeah. Well, let's turn back to this matchup here tonight. I don't think we have Connect yet, but I'm curious as to who your standout players are expected to be.
We should have Connect.
Yes, we do. Hurrah.
I lagged out for a sec. That was kind of scary. I think I'm fine, though. It was like a
Yeah,
5-second. Yeah. But I think getting everyone in the server... I think everyone's in the server at this point. They're just getting on their teams. I know GlobalClan Fire is probably fashionably late. They take their scrims 10 minutes late, and then someone needs to go get water. But probably shouldn't start too late. I'm kind of curious on what's going to happen on Bagel. That's going to be the first map of this BO3 series here in Stage 2 to try to figure out who's going to end up, trying to move on and who's going to end up have to sit out and definitively fight for their seed over in the final 2 weeks. I think Bagel, like most of the maps, should be relatively close. In Koth, it can be kind of hard to predict scores because you can have some really sick overtime games, and then it doesn't really matter that much. Like, okay, cool, you got overtime and it was really close and really competitive, but you still lost in all those overtime rounds. So scores is really hard, but I would be really hard pressed to predict rounds that lead to oh, this team shut the other team out completely in a forward hold or anything like that. I mean, maybe it can happen, but probably not multiple rounds in a row. I kind of want to give
4-2.
Yeah, in favor of which team though?
Of GlobalClan Fire.
Yeah, I kind of want to give it to them as an edge just because I feel like that they're still a pretty good team when it comes to this map, even though they've made some roster changes. I will say that the minor changes can really be the thing that makes a difference, especially since Speedy was on GlobalClan Fire last season and now he's on Darkest Night. So any sort of strategy that you had cooking up from last season, reusing it isn't going to be it's not going to be the surprise factor in terms of memory at all because, Speedy's there. I will say I'll still give him a little bit of the edge though, but it'll be really hard. I'll say 5-3 for GlobalClan Fire. But
Aren't
honestly,
we on Koth? Isn't it 1-4?
Or sorry, I misspoke. 4-3, yeah. 4-3 for GlobalClan Fire, but like I said, with how close rounds can be, and then it doesn't matter, you got overtime, still lost the round. We could easily see a different scoreline where Cozy comes out on top 4-1 or something, but still close rounds all across the board. So it's a really hard one. I think the later match predictions of the 5 CP maps are going to be way easier to a close score to. But you never know. Maybe we'll nail the cough on the head, and then 5 CP will be a giant mystery.
Perhaps. I think you might have been lagging out when I asked you this, but who do you expect to be standout players in tonight's matchup?
Oh yeah, it probably was lagging out. Standout players, for GlobalClan Fire, definitely Sax. I think this is one of the few maps where he can somehow find himself to get like 400 DPM on Roamer, which is like, it's not really something that happens against a team that you're like at even playing field with. Usually if you get like a crazy stat line, it's because you're playing an imbalanced matchup or anything like that, you know, or you just like farming the other team. But he somehow will be able to manage it without like being a detriment or anything, you know. He's like, it's not like he's baiting or anything. So I definitely think he's going to be a powerhouse, and I don't think that's going to change even with the changes to the roster that they've made. So I'm kind of looking at him. For this side of Darkest Nights, I think I'll kind of give it to Gungan, because I think the point play in terms of how you position yourself as a scout is extremely important, because it's like you said and mentioned previously, the cap time goes really quick on Bagel. Even the slightest thing can give you an advantage in terms of trying to tiptoe the point and pressure it properly to make sure that you can just swing things in your favor, start getting the cap in your direction in the middle of like a stalemate fight, and now it's you running down the clock instead of your opponents, just abusing the little things. And I think Gungan definitely has that prime experience, because he's played at the upper echelons of TF2 at like at the highest level already. And I think, you know, his time on G6 was definitely a time where, you know, Koth was their jam, so he definitely has a good idea of what his job is and what he needs to do. And I think it's those little things that could make it so that Darkest Nights could take these fights where, you know, they only need to win a little bit just to like take the point, and no one even dies in the process, and that could be their ticket to victory. So I think I'm kind of looking at those two players from both those teams.
Heck yeah. I think on a map like Bagel, I'm always watching the soldiers just because it's so easy to get across the point. That might be a lower level analysis, but I just think watching soldiers on Koth is really fun in general. So I'll be seeing what Junie from Spy Kids can do. Dingo on soldier, I'm interested to see how he fares in invite compared to his demo days of late. So that's my player to watch personally, but I don't know if he's going to turn into a standout player necessarily.
Dingo's usually a pretty standout player, but it depends. He's not. I think Dingo usually isn't described too much as flashy unless he has like a, you know, he gets his fair share of, you know, the occasional Twitch clip or whatever when he's streaming, you know, some crazy shots because he's monster, same. But I don't think he's necessarily the type to like go for like quote unquote plays. Like as many plays as you can actually go for on Bagel, it can be really difficult to really do that a lot of the time. Because the off-class potential is kind of limited in Koth, especially on this map. I would say when it comes to like the players are gonna like be really doing stuff for the team, maybe be really flashy, I'd maybe give it to maybe Ed on GlobalClan Fire, and then probably probably Zam, but just give it to the flank scouts, honestly. I'd kind of give it to them for their timing on you know, how they position themselves and which house they decide to help overtake. At what point do they focus on, you know, fighting over the point rather than to a side of the map, etc., etc. And but I think we both can agree that it's going to be a lot on the initiators, whether it's you watching the soldiers or me watching these flank scouts. It's definitely going to be on them. That's like, you know, when and how they go in. It's going to be really fun and really important to watch. So.
Nice. We got a bait on the ready up there. Hopefully it won't be too much longer. So this is lower one, right? So what are the upcoming matches then for people who might not be super familiar with the bracket like me?
So basically stage 2 just replaces weeks 5 through 8, and it's basically just a playoff bracket that's not actually playoffs. You took the top 4 teams, you took the bottom 4 teams, you put them in a double elimination bracket, and you run through it all the way like a normal bracket does. And instead of, oh, you ran through a bracket and that's your placement at invite, you run through the bracket and then that's your seed. So, you know, you had a seed at the beginning from the playing every team once, and now you're defining it even more by playing only playing teams of your skill level in a bracket rather than like, oh, I'm seed number 1 and I'm playing at seed number 8 this week. You know, these like really embellished like trash games. So it kind of facilitates that to help define your seed. And then those are weeks 5 through 6, and then 7 through 8 seeds 6, 5, 4, and 3 go through another bracket type deal where you define your seed, and then maybe things will flip flop back and forth between there. So right now, we're at the point where seeds are starting to get defined. Whoever loses this gets defined as 4th seed and is guaranteed going to have matches to play during week 7 and 8 where they have to fight to keep their seed or maybe even get a better one, but definitely make sure they don't actually accidentally lose it and drop further down and get like 5th or 6th seed instead of 4th. And the winner of this moves on. They get at least 3rd seed. They'll go on and fight against Witness Gaming to try to get 2nd, and whoever loses that gets 3rd. Winner moves on, plays Froyo, tries to fight against 1st seed, etc., like a normal bracket. So that's basically what stage 2 is. It's a bracket before the bracket.
Fantastic. Thank you for the explanation. That's probably the best way I've heard it explained this whole time. It sounds like we might get ready soon because it is nearly 11:30 and
It's under 30-second mark, I'm pretty sure.
Great. I don't
so
really have any more pregame things to talk about. What do you got?
I'm kind of curious when we're going to see an off-class on Bagel. I feel like we never see it. The most we ever see an off-class on Bagel is when someone decides to go spy to break a forward hold, but usually that's not really needed, honestly. I think teams have been pretty good at, like, being confident, maybe not success at breaking the forward holds, but at least being, like, really confident about, like, yeah, we can just break this the normal way. But I don't know if it's going to be denied. I feel like it's not going to be, but you never know. You know, shenanigans ensue when you're down to the wire and backs up against the wall. But we are going live between GlobalClan Fire and the Darkest Knights in this BO3, starting on Bagel.
I think we got the speedy rollout requested, so we'll see how that goes. But we are in on map number 1, mid number 1, GlobalClan Fire versus the Darkest Knights. My name's Godfather. Jared on the mic with me, Dolph behind the scenes. And so far, not so much happening. These teams kind of getting a feel for how they want to take this mid, playing pretty methodically. Tingo fighting, I think that's Wonder off in the flank, who has to retreat. And a little bit of pressure from GCF going forward here, Jared.
Yeah, and they started off really slow to get this cap open, but Dingo gets bombed by the side of Wonder, finally able to get that soldier frag, but they are going to trade a couple in return. GlobalClan Fire tried to play this slow and just wait for the cap time, but their initiation is going to be all for naught, as they're pretty much dropping everyone. Divine at 98%. Ed tried to go for a bite the last second, but Divine will not be able to survive and dies at 98%. I mean, it's a classic mid where you just kind of wait for the cap to get open and maybe you just bully them and get the cap time, but the way GlobalClan Fire went into that, they basically went into a meat grinder, dropped 3 people almost immediately, even though they got the Dingo frag. And Speedy lived throughout it all, 100%. A little bit of a forward hold, just a tad, not super crazy, but enough to apply some respectable spam in GlobalClan Fire. Gonna have to try to find a way to break this.
Yeah, soldier jumping forward, Saxomone's gonna join him. All the soldiers up in the air right now trying to do something, and it looks like GCF has made a bit of headway. Saxomone going forward here, and DK, Darkest Knights, have backed off. GCF don't find any frags, but worked their way forward, even at this disad.
Yep, still the Uber though. Oh, they're using it immediately. Just passing a
they're
sack,
just baiting Divine forward. What a great play by Darkest Knights.
Yeah, able to get that medic frag. Now they're back to their own side of the map. Well, Speedy. Speedy's really weak. 6 HP does get Saxon able to kill that, get that frag, but Wonder, only one left alive, able to get a constellation frag onto Zam, but is going to die. Now, side of Darkest Knights, they have successfully won, but because they lost their medic, they lost a lot during the post. Because they own the point, they respawn much slower. GlobalClan Fire, they're looking pretty, funny enough, they're looking pretty cozy, even though that's not their tag, to go ahead and try to have an honest fight here to retake second. They probably will successfully take it. Cozy, Darkest Knights only just barely got here, and the cap time is monumental right now. Bomb coming in, on again, doesn't quite get the frag, but yeah, tons of damage like you said. Now Sax is going to be committing, finding high five in the corner, popping up. He's a 1 HP! He's at 1 HP and still alive. He's able to get an arrow and still alive, and it's Sax that is going to die. He's probably kicking himself, wondering how the heck high five survived in this push. It looks so good at the beginning, but they've only gotten a little bit of cap time and just given up people in return. They're trading people left and right over this right-hand side of the map as they're just pushing forward, trying to clean up the remaining members of GlobalClan Fire that are trying to scurry their way out of there. Wonder tries to jump away, lands on a sticky, will indeed die. Sai able to collect that frag, and they were so close, but just once again, very small execution errors from the side of GlobalClan Fire that lead to them, getting a bit, but not quite enough to actually start to get any time on this cap.
Yeah, interesting that GCF so far hasn't been able to cap the point at all. Darkest Knights were not expected to be playing super strongly here on, or is this their map pick? Do I have it backwards?
This is GlobalClan Fire's map pick, but I was expecting a really close game nonetheless. But High Five with the flank, able to get Ed. They're trying to find something, but this flank from the side of High Five and Zam is cutting them off. Zam, he's ready to pounce whenever they're actually ready to initiate. Both teams have Uber though. They're in no man's land inside the other team's house. Fancy Sun running forward, finding Speedy all alone. Does indeed have to pop. Doesn't have a target immediately, but able to have people run over to be able to get some flashes off. Uber, because of that, is actually better for the side of GlobalClan Fire because Speedy wasn't healing initially when he pops. They actually have some room here. High Five is going to die. Gets scattered down by the side of Edge. Sax looking for a flank, getting a little bit of damage on the side, bringing people back to try to kill the roamer of GlobalClan Fire, but they're going to leave people dead in the water. Able to get a couple kills. Dingo's going to fall. Same with Wonder, so Soldier frag. Scout MGE might be chased down. Zam trying to get the frag and will indeed find Ed. So 2 down. In favor of the side of Darkest Nights, and Zam try to run behind.
Oh, the big
draw
bomb from the soldier!
Sax with the
Speedy,
play,
air
Speedy
shot!
2 HP, still alive for now, barely escaping 6 HP, trying to get pistoled across the map, but Fancy unable to find the frag. Yeah, overtime, they gotta be able to block it.
It's 0 second, no overtime yet. It's a rare occurrence, but not overtime. The bomb onto the medic, Divine, threatened by High Five, finds an arrow, Divine dancing around. Holding up this point, and they're gonna step off. And overtime clicks over, and that will be a round 1 for Darkest Nights.
Yeah, two times in the very beginning where GlobalClan Fire, they start doing something pretty good, and then there's a small execution error. I mean, it's a pretty wide map, so I think like stuff can happen inside the houses as a misplay, and you're not even able to see it properly. But one small thing here and there just led to them kind of crumbling and kind of losing their opportunity to take control of the point. But you know, a new round can bring new chances and new opportunities, so we'll see how things kind of change up as both these teams are going to have to slightly adjust to how the other team's playing. I think this, like we said, it's not been a while since they've actually played vaguely against each other, so see a bit of a flank play. Zam and High Five are going to work together to take down Sax, but Zai,
walk forward.
Zai's going to get ran at by the side of a Verdant and just killed, so Cozy going to be down 2 off the back of this, but Dingo trying to find an opening, flanks from the side of the left-hand house from the Blues perspective, but Wonder jumping and taking it down. The opening, Divine.
Not enough.
Still alive, so just 2 left alive, and plus some respawners from the side of Darkest Nights don't have enough in the tank to take control of this mid, and GlobalClan Fire will finally get some time on the board.
Yeah, GCF trying to fight back here. They're going to send Wonder up top maybe. He's going to think about where he wants to be as DK is going to be working out from this right side. Pretty common way to try to break through. And looks like Dingo is able to get out. Now the rest of his players coming to try to help him. Medic not committing quite. Yeah, Dingo in a bit of trouble, but this might be just an exchange coming forward. No baiting happening this time around as DK continues to walk forward. No exchange yet, Jared. This is taking a while for them to go.
Yeah, GlobalClan Fire doesn't want to because they don't need to, and Cozy don't want to because they're just eating so much damage. They're not going to be healthy enough for a post if they're perpetually at red HP, so GlobalClan Fire is completely fine with the situation. They're just preventing Darkest Nights from doing anything by just making their health terrible, but eventually something's got to give. Gungan really wants to try to find an exchange here, get some damage that's worth Ubering on, but isn't so lucky. They find Ed a little bit weak, but unable to clean up that frag, and now the trigger will get pulled. Running forward, they're able to drop averted, so no Doman for the post for the side of GlobalClan Fire, but killing 2 in the middle of this Uber, really, really good from the side of GlobalClan Fire.
Fancy Sun gets
Fancy Sun, bit weak, but Sax spawns in, they're able to get Fancy Sun, but for what? 3v3 right now, and heal advantage in favor of GlobalClan Fire, so they just have to play a little bit passive, play off their heals, and they'll be a-okay. The rest of them are pretty passive from the side of Cozy. Dingle's the only one that's really showing face, showing some rockets in the other team's direction, but not quite enough in the tank to commit.
Really nice bomb on Speedy there, taking down the medic and keeping things in control for GCF. I mean, a minute 13 left on the clock here. We've seen so far, once a team gets the point, hard-pressed to lose it, and Darkest Nights need to get in here and try to get some time off the clock.
Ooh, a flank battle with the roamers, but Gungan goes over and helps, so it turns a 1v1 into a 2v1, and even though it's overall a trade, actually it's not just a trade. They got this cap, yes, but they extended their spawns, and it's a giant player advantage in the short term, but High Five bombing in, unspotted, 1 rock onto the Divine, will indeed get the force, tries to jump away, does not escape, Fancy Sun is ready for that, so overall, even though they kind of, I mean, Cozy kind of, yeah, they messed up a bit in losing all those players, but High Five definitely salvaged there, and even though they don't have Uber yet, they could just wait until they actually get it, and it seems like that might be the play, waiting for High Five, Gungan building, and they're in a pretty good spot to just get the Uber and then pick a door. They might rotate depending, they've been showing here the whole time. Yeah, they are indeed rotating to that.
There are traps waiting for them though. The Uber's going to be very early, but Dingo gets that on. Sai is going to rush forward. Eats a whole lot of damage. Nothing coming from this Uber. KJ the only to fall. High Five eating some damage. They do get the cap here on the side of Darkest Nights. 19 seconds left for GCF in this round. Now a rotation around to the flank, pressuring is Gungan. He's going to find one onto Averted. Good damage onto Divine. One more rock will do it.
The air shot.
What a beauty! And that is going to be a one fight for DK.
Yeah, GlobalClan Fire, they've got to salvage at this point. Find an opening somewhere. I mean, they're too weak. I mean, they can get a little bit of cap time, but that's about it. The only thing they really have to work off of is High Five's not going to be there fully, but neither is Divine. So, I mean, maybe they could try to really rush something over on the flank side if it's going to be a bit weak. It's going to take a bit for High Five to actually get, like, buffed up at all. But even then, that timing is really too slim to definitively work off of. You got to be careful about this Uber advantage that Speedy has, and got to make sure something happens fast at least. It looks like a 4-man sack is going to be the play, and they do indeed get Speedy. They get him before he has. He was turning around looking at a soldier and gets scattered down by the side of Fancy Sun. So they're trying to run away and salvage their lives. Fancy Sun will indeed die to the spam from Dingo, but there's still people lingering. Wonder. You have Ed as well on top of the point, trying to wrap around, find any kill they can, able to kill Dingo. This is great for them, even if they trade. The fact that they don't own the point means they respawn much quicker, but mindful of Psy. He's going for an all-in play. The stickies are found. He needs to escape here. He's gonna get caught. Wonder might just bomb him.
Directs have been
he's jumping
nuts
away
tonight. We've seen air shots, good directs. The soldiers absolutely fragging. High Five's gonna be jumping forward here, right onto Divine, and another beautiful bomb. What a find!
Yeah, just finds the correct timing. Sacks, he was overall getting a pack and unable to really block the door, so High Five just bombs straight through, able to 2-rocket Divine who wasn't looking. They gave him their soldiers for it though, so there might be some room for GlobalClan Fire to just run forward and get as many kills as possible, and they will indeed succeed in that endeavor. They did lose a lot for it though, and the fact that they capped immediately means that now Cozy has the player advantage to work off of, and they're going to try to immediately get it right back, but the time is so much in favor of GlobalClan Fire, and they do have Abby, they don't have it quite yet to actually block this, get the cap going through right at the bat, but
trouble.
Oh, yeah,
This is a pause?
This is a pause.
Speedy is so dead.
Fancy Sun and Averted know that Speedy's gonna have soon, and that because they have so many people rolling out, they can't actually block the cap effectively, so they're just saying, screw it, go for a sack right now.
The stick in
And
air is so funny.
They could very easily get this. This could just be Speedy dying. He doesn't have yet to actually save himself.
Oh yeah, for sure Speedy just gets exploded here. Averted has a sticky in the air. The scout's about to shoot another. Zam could get the meat shot onto Fancy Sun, but I still think Averted gets the kill with that sticky. So pretty tough spot for the side of Cozy right now. And with what, like 6 seconds on the clock as well, they've got to make a miracle play here. As
He's dead.
Unpause comes through, and DK has the point for a little bit here, but it is not for long.
Yeah, now they just have to use their heal advantage in GlobalClan Fire. They're actually
get melted.
They're feeding a bit. They're showing face way too aggressively, and they
dies.
throw away their advantage. If they had a heal advantage they could work off of. Just wait for a sec for respawners while Speedy's still dead and ruling out, and you can use the heal advantage to push the point. But they instead walk 4 to 3 people and just drop one by one, and now the advantage they had of the fact that Speedy was dead is just gone. He's back. I mean, sure, he doesn't have Uber at least, but they still have to try a way to break through. Sax tries to get through early before his team's quite ready and will just end up accidentally feeding once again. The execution from GlobalClan Fire is all over the place, and now they're fighting an uphill battle. Do you or don't take this fight? 30 seconds left. You only have a couple of good fights left in you, 1 or 2 at most. Yeah, soldier battle inside one of the houses as well, which will overall be a trade, and they're getting some kills, which is good to their name because if they can at least keep this overtime, they can use that player advantage to work it over. But they have to at least win this fight, and we've seen them in advantageous positions before where it's kind of thrown away. Yeah, they all need arrows.
Saxon's gonna die!
Yeah, he's 20 HP. He just needs to live off the pack or something. Able to eat an arrow. These respawners are still coming in. They're not quite there yet, but Uber does save the side of Darkest Nights. They do have Ad. Divine doesn't have quite yet. He will indeed finally get the last second. Doesn't need pop. Speedy's gonna die. Melted. They need to collect even more frags. Gun's gonna fall as well. Dingo trying to hold on top of the point, but there are only so many people left alive on the side of Darkest Nights. So GlobalClan Fire finally have things going there with 1-1, and this is where the pause was in between the rounds. It was attack.
Attack pause from Darkest Nights. Interesting. GCF there, able to take the round, but double overtime to get there. So definitely a close match, 1-1 here on map of 1. Going into another mid. Gonna be watching the soldiers, see if they get right in onto the medic's head here. But Jarrett, take us away.
Yep, starting out a bit slow. Once again, these teams are very willing to just go ahead and let the cap unlock so that when they initiate, they can at least get some cap time or something. Pipe onto Dingo, gonna make him a bit weak, but nothing that an arrow or a pack won't solve. But I think the real ticket here is probably watching the right house from the blue perspective, see what happens between the duel of High Five and Sax. That's what's been kind of happening so far. Sax jumps in, finds those 2 players, tries to get out, does succeed, but this distraction is enough to actually allow GlobalClan Fire to take the point from right under Darkest Knight's noses, and that's the kind of play that we're really looking for here when it comes to these slow fights. Just win slightly enough to be able to get a small advantage of the high five, tries to find an opening, does indeed get this force out of Divine. They're trying to run forward to CD. He was so far away, he doesn't want to use him. They're not getting anything. Ed tries to make some extra space, dies, tries to hit a rocket on the Zam from the side of Sax, but will just find himself dead. Nice shot from Gungan, a nice arrow to save him. Just a 4-man at this point to try to get this force out of Speedy. They will succeed, giving up a couple lives in return. Any consolation frags maybe on Gungan? And no, lives with 3 HP, gonna live to fight another day. Only Dingo is the casualty there for the side of Darkest Knights. Respawning in time, enough to actually get this forward hold going, and with Divine's death, they don't actually really have an ad to work off with, and waiting for Wonder's respawn, this is going to be just a straight-up coin flip on whether or not they're able to break this forward hold.
Yeah, good amount of time off the clock early on here for GCF, but DK have now surpassed that. Saxophone absolutely obliterated there. And
yeah, I think
not
he hit a sticky
good
trap.
for GCF. They cannot get out after that trap, and Gungan's going to be rushing down Divine. Maybe not. Maybe yes, as Divine doesn't get all the way out. Will escape into spawn in the end, but a really good fight from DK. They've got a minute off the clock.
Yeah, I think he just landed on it, so even though he got through pretty cleanly, it's just unlucky that where he decided to land was where the trap was. So immediately killed the chances of being a distraction and makes the push even harder. And I think they did a pretty good job from the side of Darkest Knights actually flanking, and they might even go for it again. Yeah, they're really going for it. Dingo and Gungan going behind. No one's really watching though. The scout that be watching is rolling out, which means Divine will indeed get forced. The timing of this, the player that was going to be watching the flank, I can only assume, wasn't quite there yet when they initiated, so unable to see that Dingo and Gungan were behind. They get those frags. The fact that Uber was lost is going to be pretty sketchy. They get one frag though. Wonder tries to go into Zan, doesn't get that trade, and the fact that they're getting these trades is actually really good for GlobalClan Fire. That's why Sax is just going in, even if he dies, just get this force, get the side kill, get something, because they can respawn much quicker, and yeah, they know this. They're backing up all the way to spawn from the side of Darkest Knights. Finally got a couple players in tow, and even though they lost the point, in their mind, they're hoping Dingo. It's only for a couple of seconds, as they have this Uber ready to just bust out and see if they can take this right back pretty cleanly.
Dingo almost gets trapped in the corner there, but GCF has backed off pretty considerably against this disad. KJ trying to get behind, doing so successfully, kind of just lurking in that rollout area. And we'll see as he sticks. Where's it? Oh, so doing flank. They both died.
The
Trading
classic.
out.
Yeah, overall,
2 down
two
for both sides. KJ finding a frag. It's 3 for 2 so far. GCF still in control at this point, but DK has the time advantage.
And this is a fight of second chances as well, because it's caught. You know, you don't own the point on DK, so you're just, okay, it's fine, we traded, we'll respawn faster. These GCF people will not be here, so let's just go put the pedal to the metal, find an opening, get this force, do something. And, you know, I'll be honest, they took their time. The opening is kind of gone. GCF is already here, so they're back to the drawing board in terms of a stalemating-ish with getting an advantage in the fight, but they're going for something now. Kind of teasing the houses a bit. Sax getting a lot of damage on the Gungan. The arrow misses, but they do indeed pop to make sure they save him. Running forward, damage on the Fancy Sun, gets saved as well. Zam a bit weak, has to be careful. Run back for Pax, losing a bit of positioning as the point is still controlled, not just in the cap, but in the positioning by the side of GlobalClan Fires. There's so much damage on the Darkest Knights. I don't know where they're taking all this damage from, but it's just endless, it appears, as Wonder. Yes, he takes some damage himself. They're finally initiating.
Averted in trouble.
Yep, shooing him back. You're all distracted by
Divine
Dingo.
in trouble. Divine goes down, Averted goes down. What a 2K there for the scout. Zam, they'll die for it. KJ on another 6K will finally die themselves, but DK coming out on top. Wonder wants to salvage here, but there's just, wow, the spoon. I was going to say there's nothing there for him, but somehow gets the shovel kill.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, I guess for the side of GlobalClan Fire, at least you're able to get a couple kills. You definitely need to play this fast before Speedy is able to get his Uber. Darkest Knights, they're probably even willing to at least, like, bait a little bit of the cap. Yeah, they're just literally letting them get the cap to make sure they get the Uber. Because they know that, sure, you get the cap, but you just lost 2 people from being overzealous. We have the Uber. We're going to take it right back. And we don't even need to use the Uber to do so. So the 4-man sack comes in, Uber comes out. These GlobalClan Fire players get cleaned up a bit, taking the pack to make things a bit longer, but yeah, the rest of GlobalClan Fire already out of there. So successful fourth, fine 80%, full respawn players, and forward hold once again from the side of the Darkest Knights.
Yeah, GCF definitely doesn't want to have to use out here, but the goal for DK should be force that Uber out. As it Rounds up to 100% here. Playing this left side offensively. The Uber's going to be very early. The Demo gets stuck. Fancy Sun rushing forward, looking for Speedy. Can they gun down the medic? It doesn't look like it. They're rather protected, standing on concrete here.
And just 2 behind. This is not good for GlobalClan Fire. You gotta focus the point. You gotta look at these people behind.
KJ.
Your attention is split. They get Speedy, that's something, but they gotta make sure they don't
Divine
lose very
alone!
few people in this. Even if they won this fight, GlobalClan Fire, they've lost so much that getting this cap could be abysmal for their respawns, but even with 2 left alive, that's not even gonna matter. I mean, they got a frag, they got a second frag. Surely though, surely.
Alright, finally dying.
He gets a 3rd frag.
Wait.
Oh my god. They're getting something.
KJ?
Oh, the cap time though.
they see
He
that.
he got popped into the air, unable to actually be on the cap to continue the cap time for the overtime. So that was, you know, pretty impressive. They were able to keep it going for that long, fighting an uphill battle. But at the end of the day, not quite enough. Just inches away, but that's not enough to get the cap, as it will go in Darkest Knight's favor, leading the game 2-1.
Yeah, DK feeling pretty good here, and we'll probably just watch and see what happens on the flank. But you're right, it has been a very slow start to every round as teams are willing to let that points unlock. Looks like Wonder and KJ playing this flank pretty heavily. Wonder is going to be in a great position to find a frag. They're going to trade out. Zam wins the flank. 2 for 1 in favor of DK, and now they're able to take some space here across the point.
Yeah, Sax trying to find an opening. The fact they're so aggressive means they're not really watching too much. They're going to be able to get a frag, but overall just trading him 1 for 1 still. It doesn't really benefit them because they already had a player disadvantage from the previous fight. So the initial play from the side of Darkest Knight is going to end up being a bit too strong and going to be enough in the tank to actually secure the point for themselves. They have this Uber. They can block the point. There is some flank happenings from the side of Wonder, but they're able to actually sticky down Zam, so Averted collecting that frag and making it a bit easier for Sax.
Speedy wants forward.
Yeah, they do eventually get this force. They're just off the fact they had better players, and the fact that Dingo dies in the middle of this, actually GlobalClan Fire, they're losing some people as well. Yeah, Speedy's surfing away. He lands on the pack as well, but he's still in no man's land. He's just kind of denying. Oh no! The fact that Speedy's alive means they take so much time, they're unable to protect Divine. Divine was left alone at the point. They're unable to get back to him because Speedy took so long. So at the end of the day, even though Speedy's play still got him killed, it bought enough time to make sure Divine fell with him. And a nice pre-fire from the side of High Five with the taunt coming out to secure this fight victory for the side of Darkest Knights.
Dude, I'm telling you, the soldiers are hitting their shots tonight. It is great to see. Very exciting.
They came prepared.
They came prepared for this cast, and Dingo's pretty far forward here on Soldier. Playing in that flank house, has to back off a little bit. But DK getting a minute off the clock early, sending their flank forward. Zam and High Five kind of boxing GCF in onto this platform area. High Five will die for it. Divine needing some spam. Actually, now 2 down for Darkest Knights here. Not a good situation to be in. They have to back off now.
Yeah, I don't think High Five knew that they were playing that far back. I think he thought he was still safe and that they'd be able to collapse on them. But maybe a small miscommunication between him and his team on where the threat actually was. Just rounds the corner and just finds himself dead. So gonna be down 2 players means down the point is, you know, they still have the Uber at least, but Divine's about to get it as well. Their ad is only 10 and not really usable, so just gotta break out normally and try to make sure you don't accidentally die to what Averted sticky trap is. They're jumping through now, making space. Averted a bit weak. He's able to get healed up just a tad, surfing away. They are able to break this forward hold though. Didn't need to use their Uber. The Wonder might go for a play, maybe if the timing's right. They're poking around on the top of the point. It might be the opportunity they need. High Five is gonna fall. Would definitely make things easier as one less sorter to actually watch these houses. The Wonder tries for it, Dingo's watching, so unable to really find the opening, but they don't really need to do anything for the side of GlobalClan Fire. They know they have a player advantage, they have this Uber, they have the point. What more do you need? And Gungan tries to go for something, rotating over to one of the houses, but just melts, so Cozy still in not really the best spot to actually try to use their Uber. So far, they've been perpetually down 1 person. The entire time they've broke this forward hold, and now they're just going for a 4-man. Screw it. If we can't just not lose someone, then let's lose them all and just, yeah, good adjustment. If you're gonna lose people, lose it on your terms, get the force, come back with ad, and it'll play differently. So good last minute salvage, but it is going to eat a lot off the clock because they lost all that time from losing those 2 players in the first place. So GlobalClan Fire probably not too unhappy with how that whole endeavor went for the past minute or so.
Yeah, they're gonna do their best to forward hold here on the right side, but DK has opted for the left instead, and they're getting out here for pretty much free, eating a little bit of damage. Still have this full Uber, 50% right now for GCF, and the fight on point solidly in favor of DK. Yeah, they don't have to touch the Uber. Sax is gonna go forward. Zam in trouble. The Uber out for DK. And the 2-man demo soldier, the 3-man, results in the force. Good stuff from GCF.
Yep, definitely the best play to go for, considering as soon as they broke out, like towards the point from the side of Darkest Nights, they had two like red health players from the side of GlobalClan that weren't able to fight normally to like spam people trying to corner cap or anything like that, or go for any sort of like flank play or anything. So 4-man definitely the way to go. Wonder Wonder lands on the trap like Sax did earlier, but this time he actually is able to survive. Flank play happening from the side of Darkest Nights. Finds Ed alone, is still trying to run forward, finds Sax as well, and oh, they're stuck in no man's land. They get forced. High5 gonna give up his life for that, and I don't think GlobalClan Fire is able to deal, like they're getting a little bit of bad luck when it comes to breaking out of this forward, just like coincidentally landing on where the trap is. But they're also in their own way, like not properly dealing with this flank play that's constantly happening from the side of Darkest Nights whenever they're forward holding. So definitely have to go back to the drawing board when it comes to the way you execute getting out of your spawn. But it's going to be for another time, as they've gotten out this time, but they have to deal with Speedy's full Uber and Gungan. He's on top of the point, he's blocking, and he's ready to use it if the necessary moment arrives, and he's going for it.
Junie somehow is going to be able to stay alive here. It's actually 2 fall for GCF off the Uber from Darkest Nights, trying to trap off here. Wonder it's the target of the demo spam, but not finding anything. Zam kills KJ late into the fight, but now full ad pretty much for the side of GCF.
Try number 2, you got your Uber. It is going to be forward hold though, so you got to make sure you're able to collect some sort of frags or anything at all here. They're going to go through main line traps, it blasts them back a little bit, but at least they're alive. They're going forward, you got to get any kills you can. High5 a bit weak, has the pack, their Uber's over. They spent so much of it, and Averted goes so far forward, just dies in the post. Thing said for Fancy Sun is they are melting. This is not what they wanted out of their Uber. They got cap time, but that's not going to be enough to your name. Only person weak on the field is Speedy, and he's not even going to fall. He's safe and sound. I mean, Wonder trying to go for any sort of frag. Rocket, he hits last, does not hit at all. And with just Averted and Fancy Sun alive at spawn, another round goes in favor of the Darkest Nights.
Yeah, really dominant fight there at the end. Forward holding and, you know, stopping any aggression from Averted in the side of GCF from that Uber with the great stuff. And DK up 3-1 on GCF's map pick. So good, good momentum for them going into their own map pick. If they're able to clutch this one out in on what might be the last mid-fight. Jarrett, take us through it again.
Yeah, once again, probably just waiting for the cap to unlock. No one's really deviated from that strategy. They're pretty content with it, especially since I think both teams have probably found success with it at one point. So it has unlocked. I think Dark Knights did try to go for a play inside house to really work out in their favor, but Gungan takes so much spam damage, needs to back up, get an arrow, and the fact that he has to back up means he can't block. Zam's trying to come in and help supplement, but will indeed give up his life, so they have High5 trying to salvage, immediately turned on by 2 scouts as, yeah, it's going to be all she wrote. Is they're trying to find anything remaining from the side of Dingo, will not succeed, has to jump away. Is fine for now, barely escaping, chased down by Edibit, will indeed get that frag, so overall, pretty good job from the side of GlobalClan Fire, collecting some frags. They might give up one here, though. Sax a bit weak, tries to jump away. The rocket misses. I think he messed up his rocket jump a bit, so overall will give up his life. As the side of Darkest Nights, they can use that. He's not going to be up for a long while. I mean, Dingo's still rolling out, but at least it's a small window where you can have 2 soldiers and they have 1. They're on the move still. They have the Uber ready to go. Got to figure out which direction they want to go. Looks like it's going to be the house. Yeah, they're going to go house this time with the Uber, maybe. No, they just wanted to buff. They're just taking control over it. Gotta be careful of the drop! Averted with the sticky drop. Just kills Speedy. I think it was by the stairs, the main stairs, maybe in the bush or something like that. So overall, no Uber available from the side of Darkest Nights. They're just going forward for a force at this point. They got a couple of frags, but Divine, pretty safe. Gungan might be able to get the pistol onto Divine, but Fancy Sun coming in tow does indeed get the melee to secure that frag, and Zam looping around, doesn't quite get there in time to make sure that he can get the force out of Divine. Will indeed find his fate dead in the grave. Saxon able to go back and collect that frag. Is huge play from Averted to be able to turn the tides there, and could have been a really drawn out fight, and you know, pretty poorly depending on how that Uber exchange went out. They, you know, have this Uber still, they have the point still. I mean, even though they're still respawning and barely getting here, they can block it with ease. And yeah, they're just going for another 4-man. They know it's going to be hard. High5 in deep onto Divine, but he's so far back. The rest of the team kind of just has to go for any frag they can to go for try number 2 and use the player advantage there. But they only really got an Ed. And Dingo might be a late spawn as well, unable to really use it. Yeah, they can't even use Ed as like, oh, we have better respawns than him, because Dingo dies so late. So we almost saw Zam Sniper there. I think he was thinking about it. But yeah, at the end of the day, Uber still available from the side of GlobalClan Fire throughout it own. Only consolation for the side of Darkest Nights is Speedy's still alive. He's been alive throughout the entirety of this, so they finally have an Uber of their own once again after the drop that happened a while ago.
Even fight now. Ooh, Saxophone gets trapped out in main. Other Soldier Wonder has to jump away, 21 health, escaping to the pack. DK with great damage, but GCF has a lot of time off the clock right now. And is ready for an exchange. Zach still on the respawn timer. High Five was weak, but stays alive. Refight from DK, getting good time on clock. Mantis on denying it as best he can. Wonder and Sam trade out. Soldier for a scout here. High Five tries to jump in onto the medic. Great damage to the force out onto Divine. No use yet from DK. Speedy will now pop. Look to chase down the scout side, finding the pipes. So 2K, 2 pipes in a row. Finding some frags, and Divine able to back off pretty effectively here.
Speedy really weak. Oh, the last rocket doesn't actually come out, so lives at 16 HP. Pretty good play in the beginning, but at the end of the day, Speedy holds on. As they lost side though. That's going to be pretty huge from the side of GlobalClan Fire, able to use the fact that there's no stickies on the board to be able to just kind of get a lot of cap time here on top of the point. So they go for place elsewhere over in the house, but they got that department locked down as well from the side of GlobalClan Fire. Saxophone jumping away, so it's overall just a 1-for-1 trade in the scout department, but Gungan is actually doing a pretty good job of just stopping this cap all by himself. GlobalClan Fire, they've put their focus in the house, and it means they are unable to really use and abuse the fact that Sai wasn't here. Once again, another roamer battle, another trade, a 1-for-1, classic, but you know, even though you don't have the time in your advantage here for the side of Darkest Nights, I don't think they're too unhappy. You're getting a lot of damage on a Fancy Sun. He's getting healed up. They're trying to protect him, but they will finally get the cap in favor of GlobalClan Fire. Had to give up tons and tons of health for it, though. 2 more HP, but the one to fall will be Dingo. Trying to get back on top of things. Uber available for both these teams. Probably GlobalClan Fire will be the one to use it if they want to go ahead and feel like they need to for the sake of blocking it. But with Dingo dead, they probably don't need to for a bit here. There's so much spam that's missing from the side of Darkest Nights that Wonder's just going to bomb in and force them, getting the shot on the Gungan, getting them low, running forward onto Diverted. Doesn't even need to use, not enough shots hit onto Diverted to threaten his life. Divine says, there's no threat here, I don't need to use. They're just holding on to the point, holding on to the Uber. They can't form him, but they got to go and run into this Uber. They have a little bit of captain to work with from the side of Darkest Nights. They're going forward, at least maybe get this kill onto Saxophone over behind. One of the scouts is going for a play, that is Zam. But all it does is lead him back, no frags whatsoever. The overtime's still kind of going, but it's dropping. The Uber finally comes out from the side of GlobalClan Fire, try to get any frag, just shoo them away from the point, and you just win, and that indeed do that. I mean, you want to run away from the Uber, but you also want to run towards the point to cap. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. And a round will go in GCF's favor to get closer to tying things up, but still 3-2 with Darkest Nights in the lead.
Yeah, great comeback there to get a round on another round on the board, I should say. 3-2 here, going into another mid. Curious to see which demo's taking the most damage. It looks like Averted really weak early on here. Has to get the beam from their medic and still eating more spam afterwards, so DK might be in a better spot. I say send High Five very far forward, way up in the air there. Wonder trades out for Junie from Spy Kid. Sai on point, 1 health goes down. Decided DK in a lot of trouble here, down 2. High Five behind onto the medic. The demo doesn't see him. Oh, High Five hits the correct Raider Saxophone right in their face. 2 down for the side of GCF. KJ looking to get some damage on point. Speedy was weak. Now Averted still has eaten so much damage. I'm curious what Averted's damage taken per minute stat is going to look like as these Ubers even out, Jarrett.
Probably a lot. There's been a lot of damage on the board for both sides, but they're streamlining forward. They found an opening, trading some kills, lost both scouts, get the cap, and they actually get the 4. So this Uber's not really going to start on Darkest Nights' terms, so they did get 2 in return, so going to be able to have some sort of player advantage for the post here as they're trying to recap it. They kite over into the house to make sure they can avoid the better Uber, but oh, they're on top of each other. Avert with a sticky, able to take down Speedy, and now they're in salvage mode. Maybe they can get this cap just barely, but they actually, yeah, they're not even going to go for it. They want to make sure Speedy does indeed spawn. Oh, the Sai jumped over the cap, and because he jumped over the cap, it capped and extended Speedy's spawn, so the ad from Divine just got even bigger.
Amateur hour here, an invite, and yeah, that's a 40% ad now for GCF and the point. Yeah.
They got about 7 seconds of cap time there in exchange for a bigger disad. Very unfortunate, but definitely not intentional, as GCF are probably pretty happy with the course of events. The time's in their favor, got the ad. As long as they don't die here in this little scuffle, they are A-okay, and I think Cozy know that. They're going for a play now before this ad comes into effect. They lost Sam, but a lot of damage onto many of the players of GlobalClan Fire, including Divine, who had to back for a pack. It kind of left their scouts alone to dry, and
so weak.
they will indeed die, but 2 left alive from the side of Darkest Nights. Everyone except Gungan and Speedy will fall, so overall, I mean, at least you kill the scouts, it might make things a bit easier, but you still don't have an Uber to really use quite yet, so it's going to be kind of rough from the side of Darkest Nights continuing on. They got a lot of a deficit to work up, and they're finally going to get the Uber now, but the scouts are finally here, so you know, they're getting some cap time. Oh, they actually do barely get it. Okay, so now they're in a pretty good spot. They actually get a trade as well, so now we'll kind of see how things play out from here, but now it's going to be GlobalClan 5 that's going to be looking to actually use their Uber instead of the other way around.
Ooh, Wonder eats a ton of damage jumping forward there. The Uber out early for DK. GCF will pop back now, and this could be better for GCF here in the post. The Soldier are going to be lurking. We'll see if anybody takes a ton of damage here. GCF has to kind of back off. Psy up in the air, up onto the point now as well. Divine has gone down to about half health, regenning that now. Gungan down Saxbone on the other side of things. Scout for a Soldier. Trade we've seen a lot of.
Yeah, and a lot of trading we've seen is the point as well. Just the minor victories. Like that's a singular kill. All right, the point is going to belong to red now. Able to get a trade. Actually, they're still holding on to it. Bomb from the side of high 5. Oh, missed rocket. Doesn't matter. Still gets Divine. So GlobalClan Fire got a salvage. Ed's in position. KJ Squad running forward, trying to find Speedy. Gets a shot on him. 2 shots. Not a third though. Backs up for the pack. They're jumping forward. Psy might be in trouble. Will indeed die. Piped down by Averter. Lost some players, but definitely not the prize that GlobalClan Fire won. Sax is looking for more. Will be unsuccessful in that endeavor. So at least you have a dome man pick to kind of work off of if you want to go ahead and dry. But it's going to be hard to dry because Speedy already has 100%. He's just barely getting it. And Divine dies to Gungan. I didn't see that happen. How does Divine just die and Gungan gets out? That's just a huge question mark at play I didn't even see. But once again, they're in salvage mode, just trying to run forward and see if they can get Speedy. They find him in like the jump pad area, still alive, still has the Uber, only half HP. The rest of the team unscathed for the most part in terms of collecting frags. And High 5 wants this dome man frag, but it might be a scout that steals him from Gungan, able to collect Averted. And GCF, they're doing pretty well in the time department and how quickly the tables have turned in the past minute or so.
Yeah, it's certainly a map where the time can go back and forth. DK in control here. About a 20-second time advantage and the full Uber. Might, oh, we do see the trap's dead, so this should be a breakout here for GCF. Question is, how many players are they going to drop doing so? Soldier in behind, now getting onto Speedy and getting the force off with just 1 rocket. Really good stuff. Junie and Gungan going to go down for that, but GCF will have Uber ad after this. But no, Divine gets bombed and gets landed on by Psy. A really great bomb there from the Soldier, and salvaging it all out there is the side of DK.
Yeah. A good adjustment from the side of GlobalClan Fire to finally deal with the flank that's been happening from the side of Darkest Nights over and over again. Able to deal with it properly, but good salvage at the last minute. Once that force came out, Psy sealed and deal with the sticky on the Divine. Makes it so there's not very many heals. Sax is behind though, gonna be a thorn on their side. They're able to deal with Dingo pretty easily as well, and they get the side frag from Sax's flank, so they actually bought some time. Even though they own the point here, and trading is not going to be so good. But I think the fact that Divine got here in the first place is, you know, they'll definitely trade those lives for that. So trying to get on top of the point is the side of Darkest Nights. They know that the advantage is in their favor, not just the Uber, but the respawners. As Wonder trying to create a distraction, so they're unable to actually use the player advantage to get the cap time. Buys some time, does indeed die, but does not get a forces. The Uber is available, running through one of the houses, able to take Sax. They lost the point, but I don't think they care that much. I mean, they're able to get averted. They lose some people in the back line, so I might be a bit weak to be able to take a pack, but Divine is going to be the important thing that really dies here, as Wonder as well. I mean, they're down to 3 seconds left. Ed is still in the thick of it, still trying to fight and see if he can get any last frag before he falls, but we'll get piped down by Psy. Cap goes in favor of the side of Darkest Nights, and that's a 4-2 for this map in Darkest Nights' favor, winning the opposing team's map pick.
Yeah, I predicted same score, opposite result here. GCF can't find the win on their own map pick, so DK just needs to close it out on Metal next up, and they will take this match home, but we will take a look at logs. Are we doing a break between maps here tonight, or just going straight through?
We could do like a 60-second break or whatever after the log.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
do that.
I think the big thing here is like I think we said before, where it's like it can be hard to predict the score because you can have some really close rounds where it's like almost double overtime. At least the other team has like under 60 seconds, but it doesn't matter. You know, the round is a round for whoever team that gets it. And I think the side of GlobalClan Fire were plagued a bit too much by trying to get out of the forward hold. I think it took way too long for them to get something going. They finally, like this, I think this last round or two, they were finally able to make sure that getting out of the forward hold wasn't going to be something that eats so much of their time. But I think it was the early rounds where it was a problem that really did them in and made it really difficult for them. So, and otherwise, they seemed to be pretty decent at the map, and made sense why they continued to pick it. But Darkest Night's just a bit too strong for them. So I'm gonna have to shape things up and do the same thing that Darkest Night did to them, and they'll have to find a way to beat Darkest Night's pick of Metalwork if they want to continue on.
Sorry, just pulling up the logs here on my end.
Same.
I was questioning the damage taken by the demos. It's actually Wonder who takes the most with 327, but yeah, 328, but 327 taken by Averted. He was just sponging up all the damage. Gets 312 out, so valiant effort there on the demo man, but the entirety of blue, or basically everybody on blue except the medic and KJ, just eating so much damage.
Gungan went crazy. Almost like very
Gungan did go crazy.
Very close to entering the 400 DPM club. 52 and 15, clean it up. I mean, I know he's on Combo Scout, so like when teams do like sack waves and stuff, it's kind of like free food, Like it's just like, oh, my stats look pretty now because I cleaned up 3 people for free, So, but the fact that it's that high compared to everyone else, like both teams did a considerable amount of sack waves, so he was really doing his job, and definitely shows.
Looking at the med deaths, 9 versus 13, what do you think's leading to so many med deaths overall, and then more coming out of Divine? Just nature of losing? Nature of the map?
It was probably, I mean, it's only 4 deaths, although 4 deaths can mean a whole lot in COTS sometimes. That can be like make or break of an entire round. I don't quite remember, but it might have to do with those forward holds. I don't remember how many times that the forward hold failed and it led to Divine's death, because I know that those flanks were really working for Gungan and High Five, or it was Zam or High Five, whichever scout was there, for a long while. But it's also a factor of like, if your team is losing some of these engagements and then the team just pounces, like you're gonna die as a medic. Meanwhile, if your team was starting to win off the bat, you're gonna be seeing less of a threat immediately. So I definitely think the Divine was under a little bit more fire than Speedy was in the first place. But sometimes that's all it really is to it. Is a couple deaths here and there means one less Uber. It means that one round that like, oh, we had like 30 seconds left, but we lost. Well, we had an Uber there. It could have held onto it, won a fight, and turned the tide and taken a round there. So it's just a little thing. It's not too big of a gap, but it definitely is an important one nonetheless.
So we're going to take a quick break here and then get ready for map 2. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
welcome back after that brief intermission. I think Godfather is still
I
doing
just got
something.
back.
Oh,
We're
there
all
you go. We're all okay. We're all good. We're all live here, back in it. I think for the most part, it seems like there's only 2 AFKs or so, maybe 1, for the side of GlobalClan Fire, and none for the side of Darkest Nights. So probably not too much longer until they get things underway. But we still have a little bit of time to talk about some stuff. Next map, Metalworks. It was Darkest Nights. I don't think they've really ever played each other on Metalworks before. They've only played other teams and scrims and stuff. So once again, new-ish territory, similar to Bagel was in terms of preparing and recognizing oh, we scrimmed them 3 weeks ago. They did this and that, so we'll do this and that. So any predictions what you think the final score will be between these 2 teams?
Well, I got the numbers right, but the sides wrong on map 1, so I'm not entirely sure what to think. I guess I'll ask you a question first, and then give you my answer. Who do you think the best soldier has been so far tonight?
The best soldier... That's hard to say. I think there's not many wrong answers. I think High Five has actually been a really good playmaker, which was really a necessity on Bagel since there's constantly things happening. On a slower map, I don't think that's going to be as necessary, like on Metalworks, which kind of makes me value... it kind of makes me value Dingo a little bit more, honestly.
That's kind of where I was leaning, and for that reason, I'm also leaning DK. I think Dingo's probably going to have a better time here on Metalworks. And so I'm thinking maybe 5-2 for Darkest Nights. I don't know if we'll go the distance, though.
I think the biggest thing between these 2 teams, in the times that the maps aren't really even, it's because one of the mids one of the teams doesn't have really the mids down that well, and I'm not really sure if GlobalClan Fire is going to be comfortable with these Metalworks mids. I know Metalworks is a map last season, even though the team is different, that they avoided at least a little bit, so they don't have tons and tons of experience on it, compared to a lot of the other maps in the pool, especially since the side of Darkest Nights being the one that picked it. I'm going to say a 5-2 for the side of Darkest Nights. I think this is going to go pretty much in their favor. But we are alive between the 2 teams. The longest rollout in the game is finally over as both Delman and as well as Sax have arrived to the mid, and we're about to get things underway here in the second map of Metalworks.
Yeah, excited to see how this one goes. It sounds like we have the exact same prediction, 5-2 in favor of DK, and High Five's going to be up in the air here. Kind of fades away, fakes it, Wonder up in Batman. And, Dingo's going to be the first to die here. Saxophone finding an easy frag, and Wonder is in, and DK is out. They're going to find Saxophone there at the end of the fight. It's going to be even Ubers, but a 1 mid here for GCF.
Sai caught out, though. He wanted to fight. Gets Wonder, sure, but, I mean, the fact he loses Delman there is not that great for the side of Cozy. But they do have the player advantage to work with. The scap goes in GlobalClan Fire's favor, so, if they can play for long enough, maybe Uber change it. Divine, he just gets forced. They left different directions. Ed and Averted left top left, and Divine walked down the stairs towards lower, and that miscommunication of the way and the direction they were going to be leaving not only gets their Uber force, they don't get the force themselves, and Ed dies because he had to die to try to get said force. So giant miscommunication at the tail end of things. That means that, the brief victory they had of the mid is immediately kind of thrown in the trash can. And with Uber still in tow, Darkest Nights, I mean, they're looking forward to go through alley right now. And gotta be careful of Wonder bombing in, but it doesn't seem like it's the bomb he exactly wanted. So
High Five goes fast and gets the 2 clean rockets on Sax. He'll die for it. Averted finding the pipe. Averted in trouble too, but no follow-up damage. Oh, Averted goes. Oh, and narrowly stays alive. 5 health there, trying to escape. And DK really turns this one around. There's a sniper out, but the Uber is in. The soldier up in the air, that's Wonder. KG Quad now swapping to Engineer, but the gun's going to get obliterated. There's great pressure to the point right now. Averted, so weak, might not be able to peek. Judy Flag gets up in the head in the glitch, and wow, the Uber finally coming out here for GCF, trying to collapse here.
That was a really nice air shot they did onto Sax to make sure he couldn't actually land on Speedy. He does get the gun kill though, so at least he gets something, but they have a player advantage here. They're going in, they have to get this Heavy down. The Heavy has to be the first one to die. They do indeed get him. Speedy's the one that collects the frag with the arrows. They do have, oh, actually, there's no player advantage at all anymore. Fancy Sun's respawning. They have to win now or never. And, yeah,
Speedy's in front of the soldier.
They're really going for
shot
it.
is easy, and the soldiers direct continue tonight, and GCF fails to, succeeds in holding. DK fails that last push. Gungan picks up Wonder pretty late here. That's a 20-second respawn for GCF Soldier. And an opportunity again for DK, but they are a big disad.
Yeah. Sam in through lower as sniper, just peeking. Got to be careful who's going to drop down there. And their entire team's pretty much with them. It is ad for GlobalClan Fire, so they are able to use it if they so desire. The question is, do they want to run straight into the sniper, or do they want to cut them off going through house instead? And it seems like house is the play, but Psy pre-fire is it kind of expecting, I think, the process of elimination. If they're not lower, they're going house, so definitely able to nail a frag
Uber
there.
Early.
And, Uber comes out, just jumped right through, finding maybe some damage onto Psy, but definitely not
Sniper
enough to be able to get a frag. Yeah, he's still out in the field, wasn't in forward. He's still alive
so
at all. This is not
weak,
looking good for GlobalClan Fire. 8 HP. Overall, oh, this is actually the frag from Wonder onto Speedy.
Yeah.
These are really, really high, but able to collect that frag. Will indeed die for it, but a very, very good salvage at the tail end of things, and when everything was looking very dire. Definitely helped that Sam was on sniper, unable to really, deny with Gungan. So nice headshot to once again drop averted 20 HP, but will still survive throughout it all. There's a little spam from the side of GlobalClan Fire to defend too, but it looks like they won't really need it, as no medic is a pretty big deal for the side of Darkest Nights, as they're going back to mid, but they do have a disad to work with, so it's going to be up to GlobalClan Fire to get the super and start the push, and once again, beware of the Zam sniper, who is on top of forwards.
Yeah, Zam opting to stay in on this fight. A very interesting decision here to walk forward with the sniper. The Uber is going to be pretty early. Averted does his best, but is kind of going to get stuck here. Now is Meek finding a flash. Sam and Wonder gonna find one frag at the high five. Now Wonder and Averted both go down though, and the sniper finding a few shots, but gonna get bombed here by Saxophone. Gets an easy kill.
Yeah, pretty much had to go for that. Almost get the frag on Dingo as well, but Ed's gonna give up his life for it, so they get this cap, but they gotta run their way out of here. They're gonna get caught potentially. Dingo's not jumping after him, doesn't really have the health to do that, would just jump into a meat grinder, so they will indeed escape. A little bit lucky off of that, but the Uber is still in favor of the side of Speedy. Zam getting some forwards, not quite there, but they don't necessarily need him to start this push. They have to get this cap though. They're actually going to accidentally let Ed have forward. So they're Ubering in, going straight forward, trying to find a way onto Divine. They'll find Sax instead. I was gonna be careful. Wonder will run up the ramp and go behind him. Ed's finally coming out of the forwards they let him have and is behind in this this post. This is gonna be pretty hard from the side of Darkest Nights. They have to, yeah, they can't actually take this point. With Ed being behind, their attention would be split. If they're down Psy as well, unable to really lock out doors. Uber in tow from the side of Divine. Got to spine your way back to mid. Is no traps, means GlobalClan Fire taking this pretty fast.
Big bomb.
Yeah.
Oh, denied.
Getting a lot of space. But they're not ready to go for this force. They're all really far back. Psy's not there with traps. Both soldiers were unnecessarily, High Five gets Goomba stomped, unable to jump away because it's a soldier on his head. So
well,
finding a frag there.
The rockets have been so crisp. Wonder just 2 shots on the bomb there. High Five doesn't stand a chance. You're right. It's a bit of a Goomba stomp, but nonetheless, 2 very clean rockets.
Yeah, can't forget that Wonder was a soldier main, even though he played scout last season. Is making some space, putting the pressure on a Dingo, unable to really bomb. He was the only person to actually bomb in and get a force right now. So definitely good target selection, but the Ubers are available from both teams. Nice shots from Dingo, twice on Fancy Sun, but might find his end here in the house. No, is able to get the pack as the Uber change goes off on the side of the point. Side left alone, trapped himself off, so is able to be a-okay for now, but 2 behind, both soldiers. High Five, Dingo in the thick of it. Dingo going in second after High Five, able to get a couple frags, but trading their lives for it. Cap in, not in favor of GlobalClan Fire, as one tries to go for a 1v1, loses it to the side of Zam, is Divine, KJ Quad, they are not in a good place right now.
Divine should get chased down here, yeah.
Killbind. Bit of a display there. As the fact they let those people behind, they let both soldiers in from bottom right, spelled their end. They had to split their attention, unable to focus fire properly, unable to really abuse the fact that Averted could lock down doors really well. It was just over. So, bit of a lockdown mishap means that this leapfrog scenario will continue back and forth. Speedy, once again, has ad. Divine is at spawn right now. They can't even hold 2, so they get this second as a freebie pretty much, as long as they don't die to an Averted trap, who does have 2 set up. First one will get cleared, second one is actually very close to him to protect himself, so I doubt they're really going to die to that unless it happens way later. As going to be a last hold for GlobalClan Fire. Cozy, have the Uber, gotta get this cap time ready to go, and all they gotta do is pick a door and just send it.
Yeah, I mean, the gun is up. No sniper this time for the defense. The Uber will come in on this right side, left if you're attacking side. Trying to get this gun down, it's going to get bombed by High Five, then pressures Fancy Sun a little bit here. Averted working his way around the other side of things as Junie going to bomb in onto that demo, but gets obliterated. Good pressure at the point. Will come through, and DK finally clutches it out. 1-0 here on map number 2.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job in the very beginning of defending for the side of GlobalClan Fire there for that last push, but at the tail end of it, they didn't really have a good way of reinitiating in and punishing the cappers properly. I mean, Averted didn't have very many stickers on the point. I think he might have given them up to Cadet and fight something. They got on top of it. They brought the soldiers over. It was a meat grinder, and done deal there. Is 1 round in favor of the Darkest Knights, but we are on to our second mid fight.
Yeah,
holy
great
dingo.
damage from Sai early. Oh.
Okay. He just eats a Sax Rocket and then eats another Sax Rocket. So it's going to be 1 dead right off the bat in GlobalClan Fire's favor. Is Darkest Knights are still kind of willing to fight this. Gungan at 7 HP will die.
Sam goes down 2.
Yeah, they are they're really confident, and some would say maybe even a little bit of ego there. It's like, nah, we're down first, and we're fine. But I mean, they get the kill into Averted. That's going to be something. It'll slow down GlobalClan Fire a little bit, but they're so much confidence to take that fight, and it definitely kicks them in the butt at the end.
I love that we're seeing spoon kills here tonight. Great to see on casts. And a big opportunity here for GCF. I mean, it's going to be an exchange here. You don't want your medic to get pressured out. Fancy Sun's going to get dropped, even worse.
No, they definitely don't want to use this not on their team. They just want to go ahead and go for some sort of like force play. So losing 1 is fine. That's your quote-unquote sack. Losing 2, not going to be that favorable, especially when you don't have the resources to thwart away this Zam sniper, which is something I don't think they were anticipating. They definitely would have gone for a different play, but they're just inside house. This is their only play. To avoid the sniper sight line, just play inside the house. They're going to give up a little bit of cap time and maybe a little bit of positioning over on the left-hand side of the map.
Has to cross out.
They're fine sometimes. They're going to overall trade in either parts of the map, so both teams going to be down a soldier, but this sniper still has to get dealt with. I hear a headshot ring out to someone, and little hiding in corners. Wonder's not in position to bomb this sniper. This could be really bad from the side of GlobalClan Fire, unless they find an opening, but they're just dropping. Ed falls, Averted's gonna die, and
beam there. The medic's too preoccupied keeping the scouts alive against the sniper, and then the demo just out, kind of hanging out to dry, excuse me, and down they go. Averted still another 5 seconds on the respawn.
Yeah, I think as soon as Sax died and wasn't able to actually do anything about the sniper was when it was kind of all over, realistically. But they stayed, they tried, and it did not really work out, so they're going to end up having to give up 2. And Zam's still on sniper, able to break this stalemate, but Fancy Sun is going to respond as they know that Zam's still up. He didn't die throughout the thick of that, so they definitely know what class he's on. Ed has the gun in case the fact that Divine's positioning due to the sniper makes them want to do some sort of bomb still, like a soldier, like a sniper hero shot with a soldier bomb, so still has the gun set up ready for anything. And hey, that's what we're seeing. Bomb comes in. Averted dies, which is pretty huge. There's going to be no demo man available to walk down these doors, but the gun does clean up the frag onto the soldier. But Fancy Sun getting the kill on the Dingo means very little spam. He gets a headshot on a Zam as well, I think. So very little spam available for the side of the Darkest Knights, as they're kind of in a rough spot right now, but just going for a hero shot, counter sack, unsuccessful, but you got to go for those sometimes. As back to the drawing board for Darkest Knights is getting some respawners. Zam up on sniper still, as he did not die, and they'll be looking to still continue to try to find a way to break into last. High Five bombing in, same thing, gun, blasting him into the air. Divine takes only a little bit of damage, that's a sack wave and a half, but will not actually end up to anything.
Yeah, just the dispenser down there, so no kills. Saxbun gonna go down to Junie, trying to get out. Ooh, Sai finds Wonder, that's 2.
Yeah, they
2
definitely
for 1
want
here.
that. Oh, nice headshot on the side.
Headshot, wow, doesn't go down. Very lucky for the side of DK.
You can't underestimate the Fancy Sun sniper. You don't see it much, but when you do see it, it's for a reason. He's just spinning around. He's had so many shots been out. Sai, he's done with this. He's done with this map. You can tell that's a demo man that does not like playing Metalworks. Get me out of this server. I'd rather be dead right now. But hey, the play worked. He's able to find the opening, finds the force for his team, and the GlobalClan Fire, there's still holding last. It's a demo man dead, yes, but you lost one of your own, and it's going to be really rough to be able to try to get a force, and really risky at that as well. Indoors, you get run down really quickly, and they don't want to risk that, so let's go back to the last hold. Wonder is above the point in the hiding spot. We'll see if they'll actually notice the soldier that's hiding in the skybox or not. got the gun set up, got the Fancy Sun Pyro once again in the same spot it did before. But the Zan Sniper is going to throw a wrench into things. They have so many positioning here, mate. I hope Wonder bombs the sniper if he peeks in and doesn't just sit on top forever. But yeah, there's Uber and in.
Gun gonna eat some damage. Finally going down here.
Oh, high five
doesn't have yet.
And he just gets sniped. Wonder's dead.
Wow, what a shot. Caught on stream. Beautiful. As the soldier's dropping down there, Saxophon's gonna go down. Sam continues to walk forward, look for the shot for the demo. Inverted in trouble. No headshot, but killing the heavy instead. Great pressure onto the point right now. The Uber will finally come out. Question is, can they find the frags to make this work out? Oh, the sword comes out. And Speedy goes down. Sam still in Shudder. The medic fine, staying alive for now. Gungan's going to be looking for them. Gungan finding the front.
The cap.
Absolutely terrible.
They scattered so hard they were unable to keep track of everyone. They're like, get these frags, make sure they don't escape. And a little bit of greed there and like kind of assuming that there wasn't going to be anyone lingering that would just like stand on the cap. And there was indeed one person left alive that they did not keep track of, and that person is going to be able to get the cap, one of the scouts. So 2-0 in Darkest Night's favor after that very sketchy post-fight that happened. You know, these mids, you know, they've been a little bit back and forth in terms of the beginning, but we'll see what happens at the tail end of things. As Bam running across, no one committing quite yet, so no one melting that's going to kind of end things early. Wonder really likes being up like in the skybox, the soldier, standing on top of the cross, but they're going to spam him off of it and make it a little bit difficult for him to live that life. As Sax kind of initiating in, but not committing all the way, just taking turns for going back and forth, but Averted exploded. I think that was like 2 or 3 stickies on the floor, just eliminating the enemy demo man out of the server, and GlobalClan Fire, that's going to spell the end of their mid. As the play from Psy, almost solo, I think? Just the 1v1 MGE between the dome and securing it.
Yeah, really nice mid there from the side of DK. They'll finally get this cap in. They've rotated pretty hard already. We'll back off from that valley area. But how did Averted get... Oh, just rolling out. I was confused. I thought Averted had eaten a lot of damage, but no. It's Zam who eats all the damage, and down they go. Saxophone working his way forward here, but might be in trouble himself. Yeah, that's a great kill by Gungan, rounding the corner and finding the frag.
And very important as well because they command. So the fact that they're able to command and then subsequently kill 2 counter sacks is going to be really good to make sure they don't accidentally bite off more than they can chew. They almost lose Dingo. It wouldn't be the biggest of deals though. They could still try to work off of at least the 2 people that are dead to get another sack in or something like that. But now that they got their own players respawning and there's, you know, sacks still rolling out, Ed's not quite here. They're able to do things on their own terms, and it's going to be really rough. Wonder's bombing in, committing, trying to... Actually not committing, just wants to jump out, but that's just going to be his death. He wasn't healthy enough for that. Sack going to find a 1v1, quickly turns into a 2v1. Nice. It is a trade overall, but this positioning is very much in Cozy's favor. As they're stuck in a corner, Averted going to get dropped inside the shutter, and they're just going to have to use to buy time. Yeah, he's behind, but there's so few players available. It's a 5v3 right now. They get the kill on the Dingo. It's a 4v3. Maybe if they were able to extend the fight a bit, they could fight, but no, it's already going Cozy's favor. Darkest Knights able to take this cap, and you know, they didn't really create an advantage necessarily for last, but all this time that needs to be spent building up the Uber is plenty of time to allow High Five to infiltrate his way behind and see if he can channel his inner saboteur to break his stalemate before it even begins.
Uber's building pretty similar. Yeah, High Five up on Spy is
he's on the Ambassador and the Ice Knife. He is ready to pub. He's on the Spycicle Ambassador.
Gonna be a decloak here, I imagine. Yep. Medic did call out Spy, so they might know. Here's the decloak, looking for the stab, getting the edge, getting the sap. Rotating away here, trying to get in back behind Saxbone, finding a frag or 2. Shooting it down to the scout there. Here comes the medic to find. The pistol is out. Now going for the knife. Look for the medic! Oh, doesn't get it, and missing their shots. Spy POV does not succeed.
Yeah, it's hit or miss. But Zam on heavy walking out of spawn. They want to Uber exchange and then have Zam pop out through one of these doors for 450. I guess that's going to be their play. He's rolling out. It's going to take a bit for them to actually get there and actually enact their play. They got to make sure they deal with this.
Wait, he's playing passive. He's a trap?
Hmm? No. They're waiting to get him all buffed up and stuff, and then he tries to run it probably. Surely they're just going to Uber exchange and he comes in later.
All right, now he's working his way forward. He was hiding in a corner for a bit too long. I thought he might be a fallback.
He didn't want anyone to see him, anyone peeking or anything like that. But they got to make sure they deal with his Ed Sniper. Because if this post Uber kicks off and Ed Sniper is not uncomfortable. He's just gonna scope in and be able to kill the heavy, and Sam's never gonna be able to walk in. So that's their next best
Uber
objective
is
after
in.
this force. Yeah, they get the force, got it. Oh, or they Uber, they get the gun, get the force, and then you gotta leave fully. Yeah, they're gonna lose the scout.
Oh.
You don't really have a way to make Ed uncomfortable. I mean, he's off.
Sam is a fallback plan here. He never walks forward and is now obviously seen. This might be in the GCF. Yeah, they're not going to send anyone forward, I think.
I wonder as banner. That's gonna be really good for them. I think they might just chill, honestly. They're gonna, I mean, Metalworks second, going from Metalworks last to second to mid is such a daunting task. You need like a huge advantage to work off of. So I think it's very unsurprising to see all different kinds of playstyles of teams. Just like don't even bother doing counter sacks sometimes. Just screw it. Just stay at last. Do another mid fight. But Dingo bombing in, distraction. Zam's in. I don't really think he was buffed. He just goes in. I think he did that to get off his class. He was like, done with this. Get me off heavy, dude. This is not working. And they do a 3-man. Doesn't really work out. Will that be enough for GlobalClan Fire? It's a nice 3 picks. You still have to try to work through Speedy Zuber, but it could be something. As they're poking around, we'll see if they actually commit. Could just be spam at the doors, and it'll likely be Sax to be the one to be committing. They're not really spotting him. This could be the opening. Sax through onto Speedy. Does indeed get the force and damage on the side as well. He will give up his life for that, but Uber advantage in favor of GlobalClan Fire. Immediately using it, seeing there's a lot of players that are pretty gifted. They can try to find a way to kill, but Ed will get caught out, trying to go forward without his team, a little bit too aggressive. They're able to go Psy. The banner comes out, the tail end of things, still holding it. We'll finally release it when the fight kicks off. Releases it now.
They're
going to
trouble.
last, though. Oh. They're going to last. They're going to last. Be careful. The cap, though, will indeed go in GlobalClan Fire's later favor. So it will just be a wraparound instead.
No.
They're able to get a couple
Sam
players.
Divine for free.
Will indeed get that frag. Sax, he's kind of there to apply some damage, but I mean, after Sax bombed in, there was no one really watching that flank. They were all on one side of the map, and sure, they got the cap, but the fact they had to turn around, it all kind of screwed things over for them. So a little bit of mispositioning there. They get the frag on the side and a Zam, so actually this dry is not going to really happen from the side of Cozy. Have to back up, play their Uber ad instead, and Divine will get a chance to spawn and heal up some players. They have time for a gun as well, because they know they're not going to Uber without Psy. So a chance at defending, but you know, they got some time to open some things up. Their Uber's finally getting into a couple players still rolling out, but just have to see which door they're going through. This Pyro, is it going to play the same? Yeah. They still have the Pyro on top of the gun, just to be able to get healed and protect the gun best they can. The question is, will it go through the same door? They've gone through the same door every single time. Looks like it is, once again, the same door. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Trying to prep the gun, getting it down now. The soldier, Saxbone, he's jumping to the point. Traps have not yet been dead. Both soldiers on red, bombing from the same position, and it's High 5 getting in for free and getting so many frags. It's a 3K, leading to another, the 3rd round win for DK. What a nuke.
Just stuck into a box, almost like a snack that just High 5 just munches on over and over again. Gets a 3K with that bomb with Dingo, and it's going to be enough to secure the round for them, preventing GlobalClan Fire from having any sort of response to their aggression with that last push. As 3-0 in Darkest Night's favor. It's very, maybe not very quickly showing, but very slowly showing why they picked this map. Is even maybe there's some bumps here and there, they're able to come up on top, at least for now. GlobalClan Fire, they still have some room to kind of fix things, though, especially with the infinite overtime that has the 5 CP. So we'll see if they're able to come back from this deficit in due time. As, you know, small bits of initiation. Wonder finds a duel with Dingo. They blast each other back and will not really result to anything. Gungan will die to a pipe from the side of Averta, though, and Wonder will take that opportunity to go ahead and bomb in. Gets the kill onto Speedy. Some a bit weak, and now they're just falling like dominoes. Dingo trying to salvage the way onto Saxophone. Will indeed get that Market Gardener frag as Psy just cuts his losses. Backs up. Sets up a trap somewhere. That is a trap on the middle of the bridge for if they walk down the bridge. And we'll see if anyone dies to that. But at the end of the day, it's a 1 mid from the side of GlobalClan Fire, a free 2nd point, and we're looking at a last push here eventually from the side of GlobalClan Fire.
Yeah, they're trying to get on the board here. Already down 1 map to 0, so certainly on the back foot, and around here would maybe kickstart something coming back here, and we'll see. I think this is maybe the 1st or 2nd time only we've seen DK on their last, so that gun up and a Pyro is their defensive setup of choice.
Yep, going down the bridge, this time avoiding the Pyro, but they still have to actually try to kill the gun. The Pyro's able to spam things a bit back and make it difficult. They get the kill on the High 5, maybe on the Dingo as well, depending, but overall it will just be a High 5 kill. Yeah, they're taking some time. Got some damage, got the gun kill, so slow methodical, but does find success as they get on top of the cap. Minus Sticky is able to completely mulch the
Oh,
explosive
wow.
class is running forward. Zam's on heavy, but
That's
he's
a
not
cap.
able to get there in time, and they took things slow and steady, able to channel the inner workings of Metalworks, which is such a slow and steady map, and just able to finally get around on the board here after that mid win and that last push very, very quickly. And maybe we're seeing the resurgence of GlobalClan Fire, but Cozy, they have some room to adjust and adapt. It's the first moment on Metalworks here where they need to try to change something, so we'll see what they have in store for us here on this next mid.
I think GCF might have another round in them. But DK certainly still in control. Sai eats a fair amount of damage, as does Averted, as this mid gets underway with a Soldier Bomb. That's Dingo. And now High Vibe right on the Divine, but the second rocket is eaten by the wall, I think, or is just a plain miss. My POV wasn't too sure. We are in another pause here, Jarrett.
This is the Darkest Night's attack if I've ever seen one. That's my
Do you
call.
think GCF just rolls?
They're down 2 soldiers. I think they win the mid, and then they kill Speedy at the tail end of this, and then round win, and then that means the game is 2-3, and then Darkest Night's attack or something to fix their mid fight. Because obviously, whatever, like they've lost some mids. Obviously, whatever they've been talking about in the rollout and what they want to change. If this mid fight continues the way it is, whatever they've talked about briefly, even though Metalworks rollout is really long, it's obviously not working. So it might need to take a sec, actually take a couple minutes to like figure out what the root of the problem is and how you actually want to change things. But who knows? Maybe someone's mouse is broken. You never know. I've called that out before. Where it totally makes sense for attack because it seems like, oh yeah, the round could end in like 90 seconds, sure, and then it's not attack after all. But you know, sometimes you just go with your gut. So
I think I believe you. Especially with this being such a strong mid so far for GCF. Wonder is pretty weak, but you know, in a very safe spot right now, so it's gonna be fine.
Yep, and Gungan is very much not fine. I don't know his trajectory. He might.
Oh,
no,
here we go.
He does indeed escape, but yep, 64. Not really fighting that. They keep Speedy alive, which is actually pretty good from the side of Darkest Night. So if this is a round roll, I'm kind of curious on how it happens and how this kind of plays out. They're still holding it. They don't have their soldiers yet, so the spam's not really here. Everyone from the side of GlobalClan Fire is ready to go as a bomb comes in from the side of Wonder.
No way, this is a drop, right?
It's just a bit of a fake. They lost Gungan, losing a couple HP from the side of Darkest Nights. They lost tons of positioning as well. Pretty much have to give at this point. They could technically use the Uber. Oh, they're using the Uber. I mean, you got to get something out of here. They're getting some damage. They haven't gotten the Force yet. This might be it. Divine still
Ooh, there's
around.
the Force.
Yep, they get the Soldier Frag. They're chasing down one of the scouts. They got really weak on the combo. Unable to really get him, but they will get Sai, and that could be the thing that it sparks the dry here. They have the cap. There's no spam available from the side of Darkest Nights. They're going to steamroll this most likely if they're all ready to go, and they're pouring through the doors. They have to play on this cap that they need to make sure they still live. Just getting on top of it. They're able to get the scouts a little bit low. The soldiers are finally coming in.
Great
All averted. Sticky's on top of the cap. A soldier comes in and Wonder to try to put some extra hurt on a Dingo and High Five, is both putting him in the red zone as Zax comes in and cleans up. Sai's up here now,
not a lot
but
of health here on blue.
they're playing a bit slow here. I mean, GlobalClan Fire, they're in a pretty good spot to win
The
it.
soldiers keep dying. There's no heals
Averted,
coming from
going
Matt.
for the play. This respawns in one. They are able to finally get it. Just barely though. The respawners came up, but they're not there in time, and that is a round for GlobalClan Fire. Not the way I thought it would happen, but yep, their attack right now from DK.
Pretty quick pause, or is that just? No, we've already seen it. My bad.
Yeah.
But actually, still pretty quick pause. So I'm wondering what they are adjusting here as another mid will get underway. Sai very weak going into this, or pretty weak going into this. But Jared, take us away.
Well, I'm kind of curious to see what High Five's going to bomb, because he's been bombing the medic for the most part, and sometimes he nails Divine and sometimes he doesn't. So I'm kind of curious how they have him play after this. Playing a bit slower, either that or he trades inside house. But they actually, it's spammy just for now, but they lose Zam. I think they tried to definitely not initiate right off the bat and go back to their earlier mids, but you know, it's overall going to be a 1-for-1. They might be able to get Wonder here. High Five a bit weak. They're rotating and actually launching themselves out of the house with their explosive classes, sending Sun into the skybox, but will not get cleaned up. It'll be Dingle who will be the one to fall. As they're not really in a great spot here. Down a couple players. Wonder a bit weak, but will be A-okay. As overall GlobalClan Fire, I mean, they didn't win the mid as hard based on the changes that DK made, but GlobalClan Fire still come out on top. They need to really find a way to make sure they're not losing a player right off the bat, as Sam was kind of the turning point there for the mid, his death as he tried to get aggressive on top of the point. But Uber in tow for both teams. Speedy has it. Everyone's all here in a counter core. Everyone's respawned, rolling out. Bomb comes in from Wonder, sends Speedy up in the air. Will not force extra spam come in his direction, but will not quite hit the mark. Got a lot of damage on a Sax. As a counter sack, the key is escape planning away and is a-okay. So this counter sack to try to collect another frag does not really work out in their favor. They're still trying to go for it. High Five saying, screw it, I'm going in. Classic roamer trade in the funny corner. You'd love to see it, but overall, that's probably going to spark the end for the side of Darkest Nights. They're still poking around, but I would be very surprised to see them commit to something here.
Yeah, some good spam so
Dingo's
far.
committing. He gets a rocket, but that's it. That's what I was kind of surprised to see them committing here, because sure, you got damage, doesn't really mean a whole lot, and now there's even less spam to work with to prevent GlobalClan Fire from getting even deeper to try to get this force onto Speedy. If they even want to go into Speedy, maybe they want to go into Psy. Speedy's might be passive enough that Psy isn't able to get buffs in time a lot of the time, but they're bombing in. Wonder unable to really get too much damage. Sax trying to help. He's just gonna die as well, maybe. Yeah, dies of fall damage. No spam. Averted dropped to 15 HP throughout that as well. Pretty good opportunity for the side of Darkest Nights to push and try to find a way to retake mid.
Yeah,
they're gonna push Dingo.
To catch. Oh yeah.
Oh, they just opened themselves up though. They tried to go for this play on the Dingo, but the fact that not only did it not succeed, they left the valley side open, so Red Team just walked and milked their Uber so much. This Uber's gonna end on top of the point, which is not a normal occurrence for these Uber changes that happen over mid. So the fact that GlobalClan Fire went for this play and failed means that their weakness was definitely shown and were punished heavily for it. So at least it's not down a spamming class, but still down one and what could potentially be a dry here if Darkest Nights want to go for it. And they're all in alley spare Dingo. They're looking like they really want to go for this player advantage fight while it's still available. Once again, another roamer battle happening with Dingo and Sax. Wonder trying to go in. They're able to get the arrow kill into high five, so going to be a soldier down, but Sax going to die in the back line. Is two rotated back to help Dingo and make sure that Sax wasn't going to be able to do a little bit of a soldier trade in the house area. So overall, 1-for-1 trade. No real advantage to work off of in terms of the dry fight anymore, even though Gungan's still kind of showing his face. So overall, I think that's going to probably lead things into a stalemate. 85% in counting for both these teams, gathering up their Uber, and the Darkest Knight still in the driver's seat to try to break and take the enemy team's second.
Yeah, getting another round here for DK would be absolutely massive, stopping the turnaround that GCF has going for them right now. Here's a Bummin from High Five, just scouting a bit. Saxophone going to get taken down. Gungan finding the frag there. KJ looks for the scout to chase down, but Sam does a good job defending their teammate. And with pressure coming in from Valley here, DK looking to get a force off onto Divine. High Five going forward, gets taken down.
GCF have to exchange here, really. They lost all the room. They have to use the Uber to take it back, or they're goners. Gungan trying to go forward. Fancy Sun. They will need Uber finally. It took a bit, but they finally make the play to go ahead and go for the Uber. The timing ends up working out, able to get a frag. Down two. They got to block this point at least a little bit, though, to make sure these fours don't get respawners. Unable to really block it, trying to keep the final alive, but are they? He's kind of alone. Fancy Sun fell on the floor and Wonder try to go for a play for Speedy. Will it succeed? He does get the final rocket, and overall trading medics as they both kind of abandon him to go for their own individual plays, but it'll work out in GlobalClan's Fire's way, at least for now, as you do have more players up, but they're not actually here. They're rolling out. It's still kind of in Coast's favor. Never mind, I didn't realize. Those aren't people that survived throughout the fight. They're deaths respawning, so with the respawn advantage in favor of Darkest Nights, because they got the cap, it means that they're actually, at the end of the day, able to take this. Not going to be too much to really work off of to take last for free. You're going to have to work for that on your own. This ad is only 16%, and that's going to be really hard to work with. But oh, it's crits, though. Never mind. That percentage is going to build even further up, so... I don't think GlobalClan Fire had a spy to check for off classes or anything, because they just figured it'd be ad. So they might be surprised here. This gun's gonna have to do a lot of heavy lifting from the side of Ed.
Very oh,
that's gonna help.
Nice shot. Very aggressive peek. And crits in hand here, so it should be going for it. And great damage. Divine gets deleted.
And this is right where infinite overtime kicks in as well.
Oh, good point. Yeah, the crits keep ringing out for a bit there, but it's High Five finding the frags. He goes down to the gun, but 3 fall. Oh, Fancy Sun comes back. It's Gungan with just 4 health. Now swapping back traditional classes. Saxophone pressuring out this demo. Junie is taken down. Sax trades. Pressure onto Wonder, but the medic is with them, and this push fails, despite the many frags in favor of DK.
Yeah, I think it's a classic for Darkest Nights, where they're able to slowly win these fights if they do want to take their time. But sometimes you can't take your time. They just respawn, and then all of a sudden you lose because you fought with 6 players and they got to fight with like 9. So they're able to get a couple. Never mind. Oh my God, Ed, hello, Ed Legacy. I thought, oh, he's gonna get 2v1, he's gonna die. Never mind. He salvages way hard, and we'll buy some extra time. They have
full crits.
They have crits right now. They could just go with it very confidently if they actually had their full team. They have 4 players right now.
I feel like just go for it.
I mean, you kind of have to.
Yeah, they're doing it.
And the pyro's out. Reflected sticky. Second one goes out. Reflected sticky. Oh, it's gonna kill averted. Oh, he didn't dead. He didn't dead. It doesn't kill averted. That would have been.
That would have been the
that would have been so
kill.
I'm not gonna lie, that would have been so funny. That would have been so
Lord.
funny if Fancy Sun killed his down man with a reflected crit sticky. But we aren't graced with that, unfortunately.
Now full ad for GCF, and they're going to be walking out here into no crits. And if DK's med dies here, they may be pushed all the way out to their own last.
Speedy honestly might not even he might be okay dying here because now he's stuck on crits. I don't know, like crits is great for a surprise factor, but as soon as the surprise factor is gone, it averted. Oh, in the middle of my monologue, what I thought would be a 0-kill Uber, they are able to just drop him. Okay, well, stuffing him a bit inside house, able to get a lot of cap time to the scout over on the side of Pally. Wonder going over.
This is going to be a one fight.
Yeah, they're just walking in. The cap does go in favor of GlobalClan Fire, and they're trying to stuff side.
Drop your
There's
demo,
no crit target. I mean, they get the arrow onto Gungan, so he's able to take the crits. It's a scout crit through the bridge, onto Sax. Now, next to Fancy Sun neck. They have the player advantage here. They're able to get behind. Fancy Sun neck. He's the last one left alive.
Speedy, no!
Oh, the shots onto Speedy, though. Big salvage there to make sure they can't use the heal advantage to continue to fight into last. As a lot of damage from averted onto Gungan. But overall, really good play from Gungan before he dies there to make sure that they can get this recap. Wonder trying to make sure that he can get some damage in, maybe buy some time. Draws. Oh my dingo! Okay, you're asking who is the best performing soldier right now. There's a reason why I said dingo. Do not test him.
So DK has opted to stay on crits, maybe realizing that it might be, you know, double surprise here. Why would they stay on? So
yeah, why would you stay on crits? They'd also.
Yeah.
They're not on last, so it's not like they're gonna check with spot. It's not like they're gonna check with spy.
Oh
I
my
say as
Lord.
Wonder rolls out.
No,
on
he's
spy.
coming out.
Yeah, I know, but I actually don't think he's checking. I think he just wants to play spy and go for a play here, thinking it's gonna be even or something. But the thing is it's gonna be rough. He has to decloak really, really soon. Otherwise, they're just gonna crits, and then it's gonna be like a single spy versus an entire team. And they're bombing in. They're making space. This crits isn't ready yet, though. They bombed in with a soldier and peeked with another one before the crits came out.
The spy
it finally comes out now, and Wonder's just here, decloaked, or maybe not necessarily decloaked, but yeah, he's decloaked now. That huge miscommunication. Those soldiers peeked and went in to try to buy room for size crits, but they didn't even have it yet. They're like 95. So they threw away their opportunity and now have to go all the way back to mid. They can't even hold mid. They have to go back to 2, and they're still on crits. This Uber's gonna get used on last, or on 2, maybe potentially, if ever at all. And they would have a crit to try to work. Okay, no, he went back to 4. It's good. They recognized how weird and bad of a situation that was gonna be. But Wonder still on spy. I don't think he died. They do know of his existence though. They were shooting at him, so this spy paranoia is gonna be a real thing. He's not behind them yet, though.
No,
so it's not
he's
like
hanging out in that valley area.
I feel like he would be behind them, but maybe he's running out of cloak. So he's just next to his team. The overall 1-for-1 trade. Free second. Back to last they go. Don't want to have to deal with an Uber and a spy at the same time. Playing it safe, except for high five. Going for a flashy play. Divine drop!
Oh, no! Divine gets obliterated by high five.
In a moment where you think it's, yeah, everyone's leaving, sure, it's the moment where you least expect it. Once again, GlobalClan Fire failing to lock down bottom right for like the 2nd or 3rd time this match. And every time it's been really biting them. That drop is huge, and Wonder, this play is going to get thwarted, unable to really get find a backstab, but now Fancy Sun's on spot. They surely won't expect a second spy so early as he's getting his way through. He'll probably find a way to get onto them as they get, yeah, they fall and go underpass, but the timing, he's got to find a decloak spot.
He's gonna decloak right here.
Yeah,
oh no,
he's got to find an
Headphone
opportunity.
Check? Go for it now.
He's decloaked. They're rotated inside of the house.
Spy POV.
He's gonna get Psy.
No.
Oh,
yes.
He got Psy.
No.
But you really want more than that. I mean, that's like, sure, that's like, that's not what they need from the side of GlobalClan Fire. I'm sure Cozy's like, oh, cool, they have a spy, whatever. But all it does is build up their spy paranoia, and to themselves are saying, well, at least it wasn't Speedy. because they still have reason to push. So many have died, and Wonder being a super late death there. I mean, there's no Soldier Bomb that's going to be ready. They have a Soldier respawn, they know he's at last, so they're just taking 2 for free. Got to be mindful of the verted traps. That's why they're still showing fakes here to see if he can turn the tide by getting a nice 1 or 2K, but will not be so lucky. They're spotted. He jets back to last they go, and at least they've bought time for their Uber, and a headshot rings out from Fancy Sun to kind of thwart the fight as well. Dingo, a bit weak, will indeed die. Verted dead, so it's going to make things a bit rough from the side of GlobalClan Fire to actually protect their sniper, who is completely alone right now. He needs to hit a miracle shot. He's going to play this aggressive, gets a body shot onto Speedy, who's playing a bit dangerous, but is going to be fine for now. They've rotated over. They've entered through left lobby, though. They found Ed alone. No one's going to last, and it's looping all the way around. Now they're going straight to last. Zam says, I want cap time.
This is free.
It's not free. The Uber's gone. They're taking turns dropping. There's only 2 left alive from the side of from the side of Cozy. They're still inside Laz. Zam's going to fall. High five on the bridge. Reinforcements are coming in, but they're just dropping like dominoes. Falling like dominoes. Gungan tries to salvage off the distraction. Taunts galore. Dingo hiding though. Is he just gonna back cap? Dingo's gonna back cap. Dingo ends it. Game's over. Dingo wins.
Oh no, Sax is looking.
Nope.
No, Sax is going
Dingo
back.
Wins. Dingo wins. It's too much cap time. Okay, he won not in the way I expected. He won the fight, but didn't win last.
KG's coming back for him.
Yeah, he's 7 HP. He's dead.
That sniper shot onto the medic, absolutely nuts.
Soldier in, on Divine, high five, popping him up in the air. Help from Gungan, dropping him low, 39 HP. Losing 2 though, Psy really aggressive. Helps get the kill on the Wonder, Reverted a bit weak. They really need to find something here. Ed looping around, wants to find Speedy. Will indeed out of the air, so overall 4v3 scenario with GlobalClan Fire in the driver's seat right now. They have the player advantage. They could try to catch them out. They have Ad. Oh, they're trying to find a way to loop around, but Gungan will not commit. Yeah, they tried to make sure they weren't going to get, you know, just run in a circle on accident. But the fact that they're able to juke it means it's going to be hard to actually use this ad. I mean, they're using it right at the back because they know they have to. Averted almost gets dropped down to red HP. Zam will be the sacrifice there to make sure they don't actually find their way into Speedy. But they want to block this cap. The cap from haven't even gone GCF's way because they know that Speedy has, and they're inside the house. Divine surfing backwards. Down. Will indeed die a bit too far forward. Gungan able to chase that frag down, and down, drop down, high five goes. They're trying to chase down Wonder. 21 HP. The last bit of spam does indeed hit him. Able to collect that frag. It's down 2 in favor of Cozy. Sax popped into the air. Last bit of spam will probably kill him. Yeah, he's trying to escape playing his way out of there. Will indeed die to high five. This could be the ticket that Cozy needs to go ahead and finish this off as a 4-2 fashion. As Ubers are not in play with the 2-player advantage. No spam, they're just running straight through. But Vertical and one that can really stop them. He has some traps set up, might be able to collect a fracture too, but they're putting so much hurt and so much damage on him. Dingo buying some space, putting some damage on Wonder. Will indeed die, and they're a bit slow here, actually walking in once again. I mean, Cozy have proven they can win these slow fights if they're actually allowed to take them slow, but when it comes down to respawners being the breaking point, I mean, people just come up, respawn, take down their aggression, and opportunity lost, but hey, they still have Ad to work with. They still have a ticket to lock down this match and secure the victory. And looks like they're choosing a door. Far right from their perspective, maybe?
Shout out Fireside for the raid. Welcome everybody out. Continuous overtime underway here on map number 2. DK won on GCF's map pick. That was Bagel, and now up 3-2 in continuous overtime, trying to lock it out, trying to win this match. And Uber's even out. High five's going to be up in the air. Gun behind him. No debt. No pressure on the med. Junie from Spy Kids, aka Dingo, meets a similar fate, and that's a 3-man sack. And not a good situation for DK.
Yeah, they didn't spot at all. I think they kind of assumed that GCF was going to be forward holding a little bit, but they were not. I'm also kind of surprised they didn't use their ad. Maybe it was too small for their liking, but Sax tries to go for a counter.
Speedy's going to be in trouble.
100 HP. They got Gungan. It was actually pretty big. There's no scout on the beam right now for a couple seconds at least. His Zam's rolling out. Sax still behind, trying to find a way. No, he does a fall damage. So overall,
a lot of craters tonight.
Yeah, there are a lot of craters tonight actually, but Gun going up. Building up, oh no, it was just getting moved, never mind. But they want to use the fact that these soldiers aren't here to counter spam. They immediately kill this gun. Yeah, gotta be respectful of the Fancy Soul Sniper. He is popped off in a large way, and Ed with crits lives at 6 HP. They're trying to kill this engineer. They will succeed in that endeavor, so they don't have to deal with guns anymore. Zam, getting some tap time on the point.
Zam
Averted, really weak, but same could be said for Zam. GlobalClan are fighting for their lives right now. They have to get this point defended. Gonna die. The Uber's break out.
With the spoon again.
The Market Gardener. This is not good for the side of GlobalClan Fire. Sack's gonna die. 3 left alive. There's Sweet sacking himself to get the cap time. Averted, unable to really stay throughout it all.
One man in a dream. It's not enough.
Dark
DK.
Snipe take the game, they take the match 4-2, 2-0 in the series, and be moving on in the bracket to try to get a better and better seed, while GlobalClan Fire will indeed get locked down at the 4th seed for now. Will indeed have to play week 7 and 8 against seeds 5, 6, and 3. And Darkest Knight's gotta play Witness Gaming next.
Yeah, nice newer playoff format with everybody playing more balanced matches. Shout out correct score guessers, Cascade. I'm gonna guess Lily and Lotusberry. Good stuff there. We were pretty close, but off by 1. Let's take a look at logs.
Indeed. You can go ahead and actually no, I'll wait for the stream. I'll abuse my side monitor and wait for Dolphin to show the logs, and then I'll take a look at them. That's my lazy strategy.
Logs are up.
Alright, well, medic death's about the same, which you'd usually, like, in a map that isn't very close, per se, in terms of rounds, you'd usually expect, like, oh, well, surely one of the medics must have died way more than the other ones, right? But that wasn't really the case. I think that kind of shows that the way and the path to victory wasn't necessarily like, oh, we killed their medic and now we have ad. It was just collecting player frags and then using a player advantage to be like, oh, well, we have 2 more players than you right now, so you can't fight. We have 3 more players than you right now, so you can't fight. And just winning off of that instead. So definitely shows the path to victory was through collecting people that were aggressive in the furthest forward rather than just attacking the back line.
Absolutely. Sorry, trying to pull up logs now because I got an ad.
Sai going 26 and 12, putting in work, 2nd frags for his team, 4th in the server. Sometimes you see really sad Doma in stats where they just have to like watch flanks and doors all the time and they don't really like get tons of kills, but he's definitely putting in work.
Look at the air shots tab. Is that it's like a total of 10 air shots in that match. That's nuts.
Well, that doesn't show on the stream. I need to open it up in my web browser.
Yeah.
That is yeah, that is a lot of air shots, mostly from the side of Darkest Knights.
Yep, they were hitting some great ones. Sax gets 2, but most all others.
Yeah, we definitely caught most of them, I think, for the most part.
Yeah, but I mean, some of them were just, you know, like a juggle into an air shot, and that counts. But some nice ones everywhere. Both meds with a drop, sad.
The only big stat difference, like, obviously there's some minor stat differences. Like, obviously, like, you compare some of the soldiers, there's some slight deviations. But it seems like the only really big stat difference was Averted versus Sai. Seems like that was where the gap was. Maybe not necessarily, like, actually between the players, but in terms of just, like, looking at logs. Sai was able to make sure that, you know, his contributions were shown via text, while Averted just did, like, the bare basic, like, I went even, I did 200 DPM, you know, I did my job or whatever, but I think it kind of shows that when you're in a winning position and you get to play, like, even slightly aggressive as Doman on Metalworks, you can really start to shine through. You don't have to just, like, be in prison forever and hope you get trap kills. So, definitely, it probably is a reason why there's a difference there in the first place, especially because if you are able to get more Ubers, you could bolster your stats a bit more on Doman, so I guess that kind of makes sense. So maybe the gap isn't as big as I initially said. Thinking about that, I forgot the fact that Sai's going to get way more Ubers than Averted does to be able to, like, just straight up go in. But in general, I'm kind of surprised in how close the stats look. You'd look at this and think it's like, oh, this must have been like a 3-2 or a 3-1 or something. It's like, no, this is like 5-2. So that's kind of surprising, honestly. But another little tidbit there to show that, you know, sometimes it's not the stats that matter so much. It's about the team play and et cetera, et cetera. And Darkest Knights definitely had it down to be able to take GlobalClan Fire down in a very methodical fashion.
Absolutely. I think that you were talking about whether or not there was a demo gap. I think damage dealt versus taken for the two of them being inverted. You know, Paul Allen, who's that Sai, does 275, takes 239, and Averted's doing 207, taking 277. He's just eating so much damage throughout these fights and getting punished for it.
Yep. Definitely comes down to the team dynamics and making sure that you as a team are able to bait each other properly. If one person's getting shot too much, then other people probably have some room to move around a little bit. You know, if one player's taking all the fire, then, you know, you maybe have some wiggle room. but it's all part of the process of figuring out all these different maps. That would have been much nicer. That would have been a nice plan if we were actually playing process, but just figuring out how you want to go through all these fights and play the train and teeter-totter back and forth over points, etc., etc. But Darkest Knights come out on top in this BO3 scenario. It's always nice. It's kind of nice to have these BO3 scenarios early because it's a bit of a mystery on what you think is going to happen because so many matchups that get played that these teams haven't really played against before. You only have so many weeks in the season until it's like, oh, we're playing this team? Well, we've barely scrimmed them. We've played them like on a handful of maps, but there's so many in the pool. So it's a nice little change of pace, and we'll see how that prepares teams differently for the playoffs. And GlobalClan Fire in a little bit of a waiting room for just a tad as the Darkest Knights move on. The next match, it's all these matches are like TBD because you have to wait for one match to finish before the next one moves on. So I can only assume that Darkest Knights versus Witness Gaming will be soon, though. Soon-ish. Like, probably somewhere between tomorrow and like Sunday, I would assume. But exact dates not defined.
Nice. Well, shall we move on to shoutouts?
Definitely a shout out to all the people watching and hanging out with us, and the teams for playing, of course. Shout out to Slam House for the tunes before the stream, etc., etc. Shout out to the graphic designers that put in all the effort to create the merch that we have. You can check it out at shop.rgl.gg. It's seasonal, so make sure you get it while it's available. You have a little bit of time, but it won't last forever. And yeah, shout out to you, Dolphin in Space, who is sick with the flu right now.
Shout out you, Jarrett, and Dolphin, everybody for watching. And everybody watching, go sub to me on Twitch at StrongestCaster. Thanks so much.
After you sub to RGL.
Sorry, follow me on Twitch. I don't care about the subs. Follow me on Twitch at StrongestCaster. I cast Amateur Hour. It's great.
Fun times.
Yeah. That's all for me.
Yep. Hope you guys are able to stick around. This is definitely a very, very high intensity part of the season where all the matches are going to be close. Like I said in the very beginning, there are no longer any like, oh, this is like a kind of a garbage match. It's like the first seed versus like the 7th seed. This is going to be close. Like every single match from now on is like you're playing your neighbor for the most part in the standings. Maybe like a singular team has a gap in between. So a lot of close matches, a lot to be caught up on. Like I said, the match could be for tomorrow for all we know. Like who knows when they're going to schedule it. It'll probably happen before next Tuesday. But there's still some matches to be played, so definitely want to stick around. Keep your eyes peeled for when those dates actually get revealed, because if you're not too careful, you will accidentally miss a lot of these close matches. And the next one is definitely you don't want to miss another rematch between Witness Gaming and Darkest Knights. But for tonight, we're done. That is the BO3 for tonight, and thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. I've been Jarrett casting with Godfather, with Dolphin on production. Thank you, and good night.
Peace.